The girl gets down on her knees and faces away from me. And he's like, no, honey, like you need to be turned around when he does this. And this is like a new concept to her. So then we go to do the actual scene. I can see the crew and they're trying not to laugh at how bad this is. I'm going and I'm like, she gets down, and as I come towards her face,
What the hell's going on?
what's up?
Now we've gotten past the technical errors.
Right, yeah. We're all together now.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Pour a camera that drink and see what happens.
Right. Speak of the devil. Well, thank you for making it. Thank you for braving the slight technical difficulties we're having.
No problem. We're gonna have a good day.
Yes, the cameras work. We were almost having to shoot this in fucking 1080p. Almost had to go back to the old cameras.
Wouldn't do it justice. No.
You need to see my ugly ass in high definition.
All of it on there.
Right.
All
you
of
see
that.
the pores.
Uh-huh.
I didn't really shave today. I just kind of like once over my neck once.
Right.
I dressed up for you real pretty.
You did. Yeah, the hat, the shirt, all of it. We're matching.
Rocking gym shorts, like can't see it. Like I didn't even put on.
And then we're going for comfort, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm at home.
Relaxing, having a drink.
Exactly.
Comfort, right?
Cheers. Yeah, I'm at home. I don't really give a fuck about impressive people that come out to do the show at this point.
No, fuck that. Yeah.
This is one of
your place. Let's be comfortable.
Exactly. And it's not like this is a podcast where I'm fucking any of the guests. So it's like, right? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Yes, you get to see my hairy legs. Oh no.
Right. That's fine.
So how was your Miami, by the way?
Miami was fun. I had never been to the Creators Expo before and any of that stuff like too. So it was just a party. It's just a really good time. I mean, everybody there was there's a lot of people. Like the first day that I think when we saw each other, I think it was on like Tuesday. Yeah. There was a lot of fucking people. But I mean, that's a great thing though. It's a turnout. There's a lot of people we get introduced to new people, a lot of people meeting each other. So it's a great thing. Yeah.
Oh, it was a blast. My idea of networking was to just have a bottle of whiskey and flag people over to where I was hanging out.
No better way of doing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Free drinks. Okay.
Yeah. Like, would you like some whiskey? Come hang out.
Right.
Right here. We're by the pool. It was great. Did you get any collabs done while you're down there?
No. I had one or two people that we were thinking of doing something, but it always falls through. And I kind of expected that. So Vanna and I shot something though. That we had a really dope spot, a little Airbnb that we had with like a nice pool. There was some good lighting out there and stuff, something really kind of creative and night focused. So it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Nice.
Worth it. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah. No, that was my first Miami too. And it was just like, oh yeah, no, this is a lot more fun than LA.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that they really have something like that in LA.
Well, but the XBiz LA versus XBiz Miami.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I think, well, I mean, you're outside a pool in Miami. That's thousands of times better than being inside of a stadium or a little concert venue in Hollywood.
I'm for sure definitely compared to the X3, but like even the business end of XBiz where it's like just at the hotel all day. It's just like
I've only been to that like once, I think. Yeah, I haven't really stopped by that thing. I usually end up working. So
well, yeah. Why would you? Because it's mostly like the business people of the industry. It's just like everyone lives here, so it's just like no one's coming to network.
Right. Yeah, for sure. We know everybody.
It's like, oh, hey, long time no see.
Right. We're all a small family, so we all know each other.
It's wild how incestuous this industry is at times.
It is, yeah. We all know everybody, and then anybody who tries to come in has to go through somebody or has to always end up with somebody else that everyone else knows, and everyone else knows all the history of that person, and then we very quickly know the history of every other person after that. So
we were briefly talking off air about someone said some not so great things on Twitter recently. It's like, well, now everyone knows about it.
Yeah,
that person is going to probably have some problems finding work.
Yeah, I think I saw a tweet from Chad Alva about it. He was just like, man, he's like, every single year there's got to be like 5 or 6 performers who just sabotage their entire career. He's like, it's just the way it works, man. It's like, it's just the way. It's just,
yeah. Why? What would possess you to do this?
Right. I don't know. I mean, sometimes people don't think about the things they say. So, and then they're going to learn real quickly that you should. So,
yeah. Well, especially on a public forum. Like, it's one thing to say it on like between friends.
Yeah.
But to blast it out on Twitter is just like,
You can't alienate all the people you're supposed to have sex with.
No.
So,
and as a dude, have you ever seen a vagina and been like, nah, I'm cool?
No.
Right.
Well, I mean, there was this one woman, and it's nothing against her, but she had like a ton of piercings, and I don't mean like little bit. I mean like her lips, and she had like gauged piercings that was just like, I was like, this is going to be uncomfortable to like have sex with, right? Because it's just like, there were so many. I'm like, I guess it's her idea of like, I think her husband at the time, he had the Prince Albert, right? So, I mean, like, that's kind of their thing. And I'm like, I get it. But I'm like, I feel like to me, that would be uncomfortable. All that metal hitting against you while you're trying to fuck. But
no, thank you.
But even then, I still give it a try. Like, why not? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I'd be afraid if I had the Prince
But
Albert.
it would never be like, I'm like, that's disgusting. I'd just be like, oh, that's what you want. Cool. Go find someone that also wants the same thing, but everyone's beautiful in that same way. So you did that. Awesome. Like, I've never seen that much jewelry in one place before. So
yeah, that from what you're describing, it's like, it's like, we'll figure out an angle that this works.
It was just like multiple gauges almost in the lips. Like I think there were at least 3 of them, and then like the double hood pierce. Like it was a lot. I was like, that's more than just a cute little
more than a cute little hood piercing, and but also that's not as it came from the factory,
right? Yeah, right. Yeah,
I've never seen like a set of labial lips where it's just like,
for sure, yeah, right.
I'm out.
This was aftermarket shit.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. We did some modifications down there. Yeah, this didn't just come out factory reset like that. Yeah,
this is some Pimp My Ride pussy.
Right? She got TV in the front, right?
Exhibits like showing it off.
You put a DVD player in the clit, just in case.
Why they put DVD players and fucking everything on that show?
Yeah, I saw someone who put a meme up thing the other day where they were like, prime 2000s like TV content was like looking at Exhibit, look at a mud flap that had a fucking TV in it. I'm like, why did you put anywhere you could fit a TV? We put a TV. Like airbags, fuck them, TV.
Like old
porn, fuck it, TV.
just all sorts of crazy shit. Like they did one with like a cotton candy machine in it too.
Oh, probably.
Why has no one done a Pimp My Pussy parody?
Right.
Maybe I'm just showing that I'm old, but
no. Genius ideas. Yeah.
You get someone to play Exhibit. Actually, what's Exhibit doing? You probably could get Exhibit.
Yeah, you probably could. Yeah.
Someone should be tweeting Exhibit, be like, yo.
Right.
Can you host Pimp
My right.
Can you host Pimp My Pussy? I don't even know where the setup goes beyond that.
Right. No, that's enough. Just the words, just the title. That's all we need.
Right? Just put that right on the hub. Someone's got to click on that.
Oh, yeah. Put the information out there. The girls will find you. Like, they'll have ideas. Yeah.
We're putting it out there right now.
Yeah.
Someone's going to be like...
find someone. If you're out there, please let us know. Also, if anyone knows Exhibit, please do that work for us as well.
Someone's got to be able to get a hold of Exhibit.
We know someone in the industry who knows how to get a hold of Exhibit.
I would put money that Exhibit has DM slid somebody.
Right.
Like statistically, rappers have DM slid somebody.
Oh, for sure.
Do you ever get any celebs DM sliding you?
I do not. No.
Aww.
I mean, I think at this point, if you're a female celebrity, right, you're not in any sort of like world where you're needing to go find dick in the DMs, right? So
yeah, but they might want to do it for the novelty of it.
Maybe. I hope so. Jennifer Aniston, if you're listening, hit me up.
Oh, she is still gorgeous in her.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
She's got to be almost 60
That's just that
now.
childhood thing where I was just like, you start hitting that age and like Friends was on TV and like puberty hits and I'm like, ooh, hello.
Well, plus her nipples were in every fucking scene.
Right.
Like, I don't understand how they managed to shoot Friends with just like Jennifer Aniston's nipples every fucking scene.
Like, how thin can we make her shirt?
Right. We're not going to do the Alicia Kudrow or Courtney Cox. Just Jennifer.
Just Jennifer.
I'm not mad at it.
Right. No, for sure.
God, Horrible Bosses has to be like 10 years ago at this point, but.
Oh, probably. She
was looking hot as shit in that as the predatory boss, too.
Yeah. We Are the Millers when she does that. I think it's flash dance thing where she pulls and it just all the water goes all over. Yeah.
See, I
need to go to the bathroom for a minute.
Hey, well, I'll pause. You can take your time. Just clean up afterwards, please.
Got you.
It's mind-boggling to me, like, how Brad Pitt would choose Angelina Jolie over prime Jennifer Aniston.
Right. I don't know. I mean, Yeah, I remember at the time, way back then, like there was that whole thing. Like I probably knew a little bit more about it back then, but I don't follow any of that stuff. I know he dated both. Didn't he go back to Jennifer after, or was that like
I don't know.
Probably a fucking TMZ thing where they're just like, hey, like pay attention to this for a minute, and it's not even true. Like
TMZ has been known to do that on occasion.
On occasion, yeah.
Please don't sue me.
Right. You know what you do,
right? You generate clickbait.
Yeah, for sure. They were the originators of clickbait, probably. Like
it really feels that way. And the fact that like they don't follow up on shit, like they'll put out.
Oh right, you just say things indiscriminately and then never follow up on it at all. There's no research. There's no like sources. They're just like, yeah, I heard this.
Yeah, like Emily Willis ODing.
Right.
No, that didn't happen.
Right. It wasn't until after we find out that it was just something that happened. Like yeah.
Or they're poor reporting on Cagney.
Yeah. That one was sad too. It's just, it's all obviously sad. And, I used to hang out with Emily quite a bit. So, yeah, it's one of those things where you see someone who really just, they need that help. She was getting that help. And then unfortunately, it's still caught up with her, which sucks. Hopefully, something will happen. Maybe miracle, come back to it. But yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Wow, we just really brought
it down. Yeah. Just crashing. We need drink again.
More alcohol will fix this. We will raise the mood, not talk about dead cohorts.
Right. Yeah. Talk about alive coworkers.
Right.
Doing something great.
Well, what great things are you doing right now?
I have a movie actually this month that I'm doing with some people. I have been sworn to secrecy over it, so I'm not going to discuss anything more than that, besides the fact that it is with a bunch of people that I really enjoy working for. The script that I read over the other day is amazing, so very much looking forward to doing this. Yeah.
When is the tentative release? Can you at least tell us that?
I think it's going to be just before award season, so you can just slip it in just in time. Yeah.
Pulling a mainstream move, like
right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, making sure it's the last thing on your mind before you go into that award season, right? Yeah,
it's the move.
No, it's deserving of it though. Like this script is really like when I got it, he sent it over. I was like, dude, I knew that you were going to come through with this. Like this is really good. So yeah, that type of stuff is something I really like to do. Where I'm like, when I get something that comes through and they're like, hey, like, what do you think of this script? Or what do you think about this type of character? Like, how do you interpret this character? That's what I've been getting quite recently over the last year or so, is a lot of people asking how I interpret. And then when my ideas line up with the director or the writer's ideas, then we actually start talking about making something happen. So yeah, but yeah, that'll be a good one. I just finished a movie for Seth, for Wicked. And that was a great one where I play a very skeezy Hollywood agent. And yeah, we did that the first night. He was like, you kind of have free liberty to just kind of create this person. Like, let's just see what you got. And I went through and did it. And they all were like, it is the most cringe thing in like the best way. They were like, the way that you talk to people, they were like, it's only comes from experience. Like the only way you can do that character so good is the fact that you've just known that character so many times. Yeah.
So how many people in the industry did you model it after?
Right.
Don't name any names.
Right. No. Yeah.
Some of those people are litigious.
I've got, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm not going to say any names. It was someone. But yeah, the whole movie was great. It's another one of his very long, like 8-part movies, which is always an interesting thing. Seth's always come up with some really good stuff. So it was just fun to have a character that was not what people would typically think of me. It's like, so, a lot of the people in the movie, Isaiah was in the movie. Seth was in the movie as well. Anna Claire, Maddie May, Jules, just a bunch of like cast of people, everybody that's out there. And they were playing, kind of characters that made sense for themselves. And I kind of got this unique role that I really liked, where I was like, I get to play someone that's completely the opposite of me, like who I am. And so it was really kind of fun to actually do something completely different, Yeah.
Hell yeah. Like actually get into act and perform.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. To just be like, especially because, they give you a dialogue and everything like that. But he's like, this for you this is a rough basis. Like just create who this person is, be this type of thing too. And to really be on set, and just certain mannerisms and things that I would do as this character just start like coming naturally every time you're doing it. Like, yeah, it just really came out, which was kind of fun to do. So really looking forward to seeing the end product of that one and having everyone else see that and be like, oh, okay, like, yeah, that's a different level of stuff than what they've seen me do before.
Nice. Did you do any like physical changes to your look for it too?
Yeah, actually we did. Gave me a goatee because, goatee immediately just shows skis, right? Right. Yeah. Goatee, darkened the hair a bit. A lot of it came from the character look. Very like flamboyant, flashy shirt, pants. Like I had all these rings that I would have on all the time that I was constantly like playing with and stuff like that. And it was like, it's just, the whole character is just this image of this person that we all know and have been around before. And every time you're like, I hate talking, like, oh, hi, like, good to see you. And then the second they leave, they're like, fucking hate that guy. And I'm like, I'll be that guy for you. I'm like, I'll be that guy. Yeah.
It's like, how does this guy represent so many fucking people?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that was a really fun one to do this year as well, too. Something different.
Are you looking for more and more like acting chops, fucking full-on performances you can get into?
When I first started, I got, you play the stepson, obviously, at that point. And, that role gets real tiresome real quick. But I was lucky enough early on to get thrown into a couple of like acting parts. And I think each time I've done it, I've just been progressively getting better at it. I quickly picked up on the technical side. This is how you move this way, you act this way, you direct certain things to make it work for the camera, so everything goes so much smoother. But then on top of that, learning how to really focus in on the dialogue, take the time to learn those types of things. And so I've always been doing features. I've always been put on them ever since I got started. So doing more of them, I always like the challenge of that. I'm always a person who likes to do something that's hard. If it's just the same thing over and over and over again, I get bored. It's not challenging to me. So then I kind of I wouldn't say I like phone it in, but it definitely doesn't inspire me to do something like that, where something like that, where I get to be a character that's completely the opposite of my personality, really makes me actually have to work at that to like think, how do I change my mindset right now and not be me for a minute and be someone else?
Like actually figure out the motivation, like what would this character do in this situation?
Right, yeah, like how would this character say something? Like just because you think they would say something this way, like really what is their motivation at a certain time? Like, yeah, you're trying to get someone to agree with you or trying to get someone to like you, but like don't think that hard into it, because you also have to kind of be a narcissist and be like, I assume you already like me, so I'm going to take liberties and do certain things to you that like you typically would, other people might be like, well, I want them to like me, so I wouldn't do it that way. And I'm like, yeah, but this person is not that type of deal. They're much more involved in themselves and they don't really care about other people. So just do it, just don't think, just act it. Yeah. Just be it right away. Yeah.
They're just like, oh yeah, I'm awesome. Why would they not want to do this?
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. Where it's like, I believe my own bullshit more than anyone else does. And that's the only way to convince someone to believe your bullshit, is to just be like, I believe it more than you do. So believe it.
It works. Like just saying things confidently really can let you get away with a lot of shit in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when you believe your own bullshit, that's when you kind of become a shitty person.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the other thing too for me is, acting has always become like a little bit of a challenge because I'm very much not a reactionary person. I take in things like that. I take in surroundings or things that people have said, and I really think things through and actually like respond in a certain way where I've taken the time to do it. But acting, you don't have that time. And also, it's porn. You're not going to do, surprise, it's not real. We're not really doing, like, that's not how we would deal with a situation, always having sex with each other. But it's like,
oh my God, dude, what?
Right? Oh no, we broke the internet.
Oh no. Wait a minute, you're not in love every time you make love? You
don't fix your relationship by having sex with someone else. Sorry.
Oh, that's where I've been fucking up.
Yeah, right. That's it. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, especially when they're your step family. I think you need to make some calls.
Or I don't. I need to block some people.
Right.
We'll just deal with this the easy way.
Thanksgiving's going to be really interesting.
Yep. I'm just going to go to a buffet. We're just going to avoid the whole situation.
Right, yeah.
Beauty of being the black sheep. You don't have to worry about that shit.
Right, yeah, that's true. So many black sheeps.
And we are the island of misfit toys.
Yep.
I've said it a million times. It's like, for the most part, it wasn't the popular kids who got into adults.
For the most part, yeah. It's always a kid looking for something a little different, you know. Yeah.
It's the free thinkers.
Or just not caring what other people think about it. Because you have to have tough skin to do this type of job, you know. Like the stuff that people say online and things that people come after you for, you know. Yeah, a lot of times I'm just like, sometimes I'll see people some people targeting certain people online. And I'll really just like lay into it a little bit and try and like take some of that heat, because to me, I'm like, I came from that spot before the internet. Like I give two shits less what you say about me. Go for it. Say all the things you want. If that really makes you feel better. It won't, but go ahead and do it. But yeah, I think you have to be one of those types of people who really has some tough skin to do this type of industry, because you have to be able to take those things and understand that people are just saying it out of either fear or jealousy or some other emotion. It's never a positive emotion that comes from them. They never actually mean the things they're saying. They just think that because, you know, yeah.
They very well might mean them, but they wouldn't have the balls to say them to your face.
Yeah, or I mean, they just come from a place of being misinformed and never really having a moment to actually see someone as a human being. So, you know, at that point, it's just, you know, you just brush it off.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Like, I tell people all the time, it's like, if you wouldn't take their fucking advice, why would you take their criticism?
Right. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know you.
Right. Yeah. You wouldn't criticize a dog. That's what you're treating us like. So what do you care? Like, yeah, just leave it alone. You consider us subhuman, then don't even comment then. Like,
what are you hoping to accomplish? No one here is going to, you know, oh my God, you changed my mind. Guy who has a Mel Gibson fucking, you know, profile picture, calling someone a prostitute selling pussy online. Like,
and then, but then also 2 seconds later, he's on another comment being like, "So hot, babe. Love when you take dick." And it's like, how do you have it both ways, man?
Yeah. Well, and I think with some of them, it's the only way they can get attention from performers.
For sure. Yeah.
Because I'm sure a lot of people do respond to like the positive comments. If someone responds as like, "Oh, that was a hot scene," do you take the time to respond to those people?
So I have someone who, like, my social media is me, but a lot of the other posts like that, especially posts that I've made or like replies, sometimes come from like my manager, person that runs it. I run my OnlyFans. I run all those things, like any personal messaging with fans. But as far as like some of the things I just post on there, it's run by someone else. I don't have time to think about that all the time. And I've seen them, when they post something, they'll pay attention to the comments after and respond back to people's comments. You know, usually it's just something very quick. You know, they're like, "Oh my God, you're so hot." They're like, "Oh, thanks, babe," blah, 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 and then send it back. But anytime there's something where it's like a really thought out statement, that's me. Like, so yeah, I you know, I will see some of the things like that. Most of the time it's just kind of like a quick like of something if they really like, you know, actually are saying something really positive about it. Most of the time it's just thirst trap stuff. They're like, "Oh, like I wish you'd fuck me like that." And I'm like, what am I supposed to say to that? Like,
get yourself a clean test.
Right. Yeah.
Prove you can do the job.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And I feel with a lot of performers that don't have the time or the energy to respond to the thousands of people saying positive stuff, and then the negative response, you know, triggers something in them to actually want to respond, and that poor bastard's like, "Gotcha."
Part of it is too, it's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, what actually, as I move all the way away from the mic, but you know, like even if you were to respond back to it too, it's, you know, I guess in a certain way, it sometimes there's just so many of them, you know, like you get a certain scene that comes out with a person, all of a sudden there's like 200 comments on there. It's like, I don't have time to, you know, to like sit there and go through every single person's one, but just like, thank you to all the people who comment positive things, because that's very nice of you to do. But as far as everything else goes, it's like, yeah, we don't always have time to go through every response and add something meaningful to it. It'd just be like, thanks, copy, retweet, just over and over again.
What, you don't poop? What are you doing on the can?
Right, yeah, right. Playing Call of Duty.
Oh, okay. Fine. I see your priorities.
Right. Like that's my poop game. Anytime.
See, my poop game is interacting with people on Instagram.
So I mean, yeah, if you do play that game, you will see my gamer tag on there. It is actually my stage name, and I'm like, if you get killed by me, that was actually me, and I was taking a poop while doing it. So
you're playing Call of Duty Mobile,
right? Yeah. Me and Lucas Frost have played that a bunch of times. Look, man, right? I don't have time to play other video games, so. Plus, I don't want to go back into that world. I used to play those games, man, and it's so negative. It is the most depraved air. Like, it is Mad Max times racism. Just
I know.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Whenever I play anything online, I just turn off comms.
Right, yeah.
I only play with friends, and it's like on Discord, and then like in-game comms just fucking off.
Right. Yeah, I mean, when I just remember the first days of like when, like, I think it was like Halo was one of the first ones that was online on the console. Games would end and people would just be like, good game. Like, you guys were good, blah, 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 this. And then, like, somewhere around like 2006 ish, it just took this hard turn and it just went so the opposite direction. And I'm like, whoa, what happened to people being like a community, you know, where you had like a group of friends and you go online and play with other people. And then everyone's just like, some 7-year-old is screaming at everyone, just obscenities at the top of their lungs. And I'm like, how are you even allowed here? Like,
because their parents are probably working 3 jobs.
right, yeah. Or they just don't care.
Or both.
And they have mommy's credit card, so they're just like, cool.
Cool. I'll buy skins.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, gaming's a wee bit toxic.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Someone who games a fair amount, it's like, just...
Yeah. I want to get, the next one that I will, I don't know if we're going way off topic, but I'm like...
There are no topics
right,
here.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. I'm waiting for the next Elder Scrolls game. I'm a big MMORPG person like that. Like, you know, and that was not online, but still, there are some that are online.
Yeah, they did Elder Scrolls.
I've never played the online one, but
I mean, neither.
I heard it wasn't that great. So, but yeah, like those types of games. Yeah, I played Zelda over COVID. That was one of the games I got into.
Which one?
The first one, the Breath of the Wild.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The first one, I'm like,
the first one of that, like on the Switch, I think.
Okay, I was about to say, you went back all the way to the NES?
Right, yeah. Right.
Like old school.
The Ocarina back there.
Oh, no, I'm talking about like a
legend. Oh, no, I know. But yeah, like way back, yeah. But, yeah, I tried to teach Vanna Skyrim one time before she wanted to get into it because she saw a bunch of stuff about it. And I'm explaining things to her, and then I kind of look at her face, and she is just completely lost. And I'm like, yeah, this is like the adult version of Zelda. Like, none of this is streamlined. You have to know every single little in and out. And I'm like, and the reason that this sounds like a foreign language to you is because I've been doing this since like the computer versions of these games like 15 years ago. So yeah, never mind. We'll play something different. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the Elder Scrolls has been around a long time.
Yeah.
And I remember playing, the third one, which is got to be almost 20 years ago at this point. Morrowind, I think. Yeah,
Morrowind on the console. Yeah.
Oh, on PC.
On PC. Yeah.
And it's just like this game was obtuse, and I was an adult.
Yeah.
Already.
Well, that game was even hard. Like I played that on console the first time. My dad just bought one because it was like in a resale type of thing, where it's like one of the cheap ones that have been out for a while or whatever. And that game the beginning of that game is hard. Like you start out and you can't do anything. You really have to grind at that game to like make something happen. So a lot of people lost track of that from there. But yeah, that was one of the games me and my friends got into, and then we'd end up doing that thing where you'd find 2 TVs, 2 Xboxes. I'd bring mine, he'd bring his, and we'd like play together in the same room type of thing to like, you know, play some of it together in a certain way, but at the same time. Yeah, just hours and hours of gameplay on that stuff.
See, I miss that shit. I miss actually trekking physical Xboxes and TVs to people's houses because there's not the same energy when you're doing it online with people.
For sure. Yeah.
Back in the day, we used to do 4 Xboxes, 16-player Halo parties. Like
exactly. Yeah.
Trugging giant fucking CRT TVs to fucking people's houses. And you made a whole fucking night of it.
Right. And you were also in the room with everybody. Yeah. So it wasn't just talking over a microphone. Like you would literally be in there. And then also too, like they're your friends. So like when you kill one of your friends, you get to ridicule them even further because it's like, I beat you at this game, right? Where it's like online, it's just like, it ends when it shuts off. There's no like community to that. There's no real friendship to that. It's like, you can be friends for sure, but I don't know. I think it's much more genuine when it's in person. Yeah.
Oh yeah. The shit talk's so much better.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's better when you know them. I don't get that when people are like, oh, I don't like playing. I'm like, no, play with your friends. Like murder your friends. It's fun. Like that's the point of it. Yeah. I take more fun out of doing that than murdering some kid in Kentucky or something. I'm like, whatever.
Sometimes when the kid, this is going to be taken out of context, when the kid deserves it.
Right. Yeah.
When they're talking a lot of shit.
All these things taken out. Yeah. We were talking about murdering people online video games, not in real life.
Not in real life. I'm not driving.
Not going to be another Netflix documentary.
No.
Now, right. Yeah.
I am not driving to Kentucky to murder anyone.
Right, yeah.
No one has that kind of energy in my life.
For sure, yeah. No one deserves that much.
I will barely drive across LA to get laid. You think I'm going to go to Kentucky to murder someone?
Right.
Sex takes a much higher priority over violence in my world.
Right, yeah. 3/4 of a country away. Come on.
No. I don't want to go to Kentucky in the first place, let alone commit crimes.
They do make good bourbon, though.
Yeah, I do want to do the Bourbon Trail at some point.
There you go.
Have you ever done that?
No, I've actually not even heard of that. Is that like a?
It's like doing a tour of a bunch of the distilleries,
Okay.
all in like one place.
Huh.
It's like the only reason to go to Kentucky.
I would be down for that for sure.
I do want to do that at some point. Some friends have done it. It's supposed to be a lot of fun, but it's like every time I have time to get away from LA, it's like,
Right.
do I really want to travel someplace in the States?
Right. That's true. Yeah. Where's your favorite place to travel that's not in the United States?
Sorry, audience. Sorry.
Right.
I'll apologize now. Japan.
Oh, see, that's the one place I wanted to go back to. Yeah.
Oh, I've been there 3 times.
Yeah.
They're just rolling their eyes because every time travel comes up, I bring up Japan and it's like a running gag in the comment section. Like literally
talking about Japan.
Yeah, literally one of the other videos recently. It's like Matt's been talking for a good half hour about travel and hasn't mentioned Japan once.
Right.
So
they're waiting.
They are waiting.
Right.
My bad.
Right. We made it a decent way through this without mentioning Japan.
Like 10 minutes.
Yeah. But yeah, I've lived there. One of my favorite places to keep visiting that I've been back a bunch of times is Barcelona in Spain.
Nice.
Amazing. Yeah.
I've never made it to northern Spain. I've been to Madrid and then like down to the Mediterranean coast.
Okay, got you.
But that was still rad as hell.
Yeah. No, that city just has a lot of life to it. There's a lot of art and things over there too, and it's just it's just an amazing place to go to. So
it's on the list, and it's just one of those things with like the exception of like maybe New Orleans and a couple other places in the States.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some regional differences, but you're in America.
Right, yeah.
And hell, the first time I landed in Hawaii, I'm like, there's a cheesecake factory. Fuck. I'm still in America.
Yeah, for sure. No, 100%. I've actually never been to New Orleans.
Oh, you gotta go.
Yeah. I was like, that's one of the spots my buddy is who does a comedy. He was out there the other day and I was like, damn, like I have not been to New Orleans. I've been to, a lot of the other populated spots and stuff like that too, but never been down that far.
New Orleans is one of the most unique cities in America, and you gotta go. Like the city's older than the country.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
There's some bars that they're like claim that like this bar was founded before America was. And it's just hard partying. The food's all horrible for you. Delicious, but horrible for you.
Awesome.
Like, I don't think I've ever seen a vegetable that was not part of something else. Like, I've never seen a vegetable on its own.
Or fried.
Yeah, it's fried.
Yeah.
It's fried or part of a gumbo or
right.
And I did like one of the walking tours last time I was there, and they're like, oh yeah, for a very long time, the average age in New Orleans was 21. Like, because it's a swamp, and in the olden times, disease would just run through there and murder people.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it would just kill off anybody. Like, yeah.
When your whole city's being run by 21-year-olds, for historically.
This is what happens.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, horrible food and alcohol.
Yeah. Fry everything, drink bourbon. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know if they're still doing it. It's been a number of years since I was down there, but like you'd go down to the French Quarter during happy hour. It's like 3-for-1 drinks.
Whoa.
Yeah.
3-for-1?
Yeah.
2-for-1, but 3-for-1. Yeah.
And every bar has a to-go window, so you could just drink in public.
Yeah, that was the thing. I think it was a comedian that was talking about that one time before, where he was like, you can just grab a bottle, and he was like, we left a spot and we were drinking, just like sipping drinks in our hands like that. And there was a bunch of us in like a bachelor party, I think is what he was talking about. And he was like, the cop came up to us and was just like, hey man, like next time, just so you know, you guys should just buy a bottle and just carry it with you. And he was like, you can literally just get like a little, how am I blanking on that?
Alcohol.
No, the little, you can pull it with you.
Like a cooler?
Like a little red,
like a wagon?
Wagon. There you go. I don't know how I couldn't think of that word. I was like, what the fuck? I was thinking of like trolley, and I'm like, that's not fucking right. But yeah, he was like, you can just get that and just fill it with some ice and put bottles in it and just pour yourself drinks as you walk. Like,
I think it's illegal to technically have glass on the street.
That would make sense.
But like every bar, you're just like, could you get this to-go cup? And they're just boop.
For sure.
It's great.
New Orleans.
It's a 24-hour town, but it's a weird 24-hour town because the bars don't have to close, but they decide if they want to stay open or not.
Okay.
I have a bunch of friends who live there.
That makes sense. So then if you're running out of people, then why keep people around? You know
well,
what I mean?
They'll also make decisions like, oh yeah, we're closing, and then get people they don't want in there anymore, and then be like, oh yeah, we're still open.
Yeah.
I had friends that lived there for a while, and they're just like, yeah, that would happen.
We're closing for you group. Yeah. You guys. Yeah.
You shitty tourists. Yeah, we're closing.
Yeah. The locals, though, yeah, you know the knock.
Yep. Yeah. And just the food's amazing. Like, because it's below sea level, just, I don't know. Something about the food is just absolutely fucking amazing.
I'll have to go then.
You have to
go during Mardi Gras?
Fuck no. because
I figured that would be insane. Like
Yeah.
that you wouldn't really you'd just be a drunk blur of, everything.
well, on top of it, Bourbon Street is like the width of a wide alley.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not a big street.
Huh. Okay.
And one of the times I was down there, it was like during like a college home opener, and it was just fucking packed on the weekend. I've seen pictures of Mardi Gras. It's just like, oh no, that's claustrophobic amount of people.
Yeah. Shoulder to shoulder doesn't make anything fun.
No, shoulder to shoulder with intoxicated people who can't hold their liquor.
Right. Oh, that's rough.
Bourbon is dirty as shit. It does smell like urine. People puke on the street all the time.
Right. Taking a piss up against a building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just commonplace.
Yeah.
It's supposedly real bad during Mardi Gras.
I mean, I would imagine. I mean, I've only seen pictures of that, but at the same time,
Yeah. So
you have a bunch of people traveling to one place in particular to get hammered that seems to have an open, like, you can just walk around with open container. Yeah, it's going to happen.
yeah, it's just like people who don't know how to party because they're like, we're going to Mardi Gras.
Right.
It's why I don't generally
for
drink on
sure.
weekends because
Right.
it's amateur hour.
Yeah, right.
So this is just amateur hour.
You're getting drunk on a Wednesday. Yeah.
Exactly. Professionals do it during the week.
Yeah.
Sunday night.
Tuesday evening, whatever.
Exactly. Fridays and Saturdays are fucking for amateurs that punch clocks.
Right.
You don't want to deal with those people. They don't know what they're doing.
Right. Plus, you're cramming a whole week worth of drinking into 2 days. Yeah. You want to have that whole week worth of drinking already done, and then you just casually keep going on the weekend.
Right? With friends, away from the public.
Right.
Because that's when the stupid shit happens with the people who don't know how to fucking consume alcohol.
Right.
That's when the idiots, get jealous about some girl talking to you, or you stepped on my shoe, or some other dumb shit that happens when you're in public.
You just take it to another level because you're drunk.
Just learn how to be drunk in public, people.
I don't know. I don't know. I've met some people, though, that I used to have a friend that every time he would get a hold of whiskey, he'd just get like angry drunk. But tequila, vodka, rum, fine. He'd just be happy. But whiskey, for some reason, just hit that spot. And I'm like, I think there's some people that just certain drinks, it just doesn't work. The chemistry is just weird.
Well, I'm curious if that's like a psychological thing or if it's actually
Right.
like something in the mash of the process. Like, okay,
Yeah.
if it's bourbon, it's at least 51% corn, and then it's aged in oak barrels. Like, where in that is like fires off your brain?
Different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't understand that part either. Because it is one of those things where it's like what it really is different about this product as compared to the other products. Like the taste for sure, but other than that, I don't really know how this is affecting you so much differently.
Right, because rum's from molasses, so that's sugar.
Yeah.
And then vodka is either coming from potatoes, wheat. I think there's corn vodka, maybe.
It's probably corn vodka.
Probably. You can
I
make
would
vodka
think so.
for pretty much anything.
Yeah.
And tequila is agave. So what is it?
Right.
Just
That's why I don't know. One of my favorite ones is like gin. The one thing I like gin, especially when traveling, like finding like a local gin in some places, because it's based on the florals of that region where it's made, where it's distilled. So you're gonna get a different kind of flavor, a different palate to each one of them.
a different Christmas tree in your mouth.
Right.
Speaking of gin, like at least my experience in Spain, they were really big on gin and tonics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do they not in Barcelona?
I don't know. I didn't really. I mean, we went out and we were drinking, but we were usually just drinking red wine. That was always the thing. We'd have like a good little dinner, some maybe some ham, or the bacon.
The hormone.
Yeah, jamon. Yeah, and just some red wine. Typically, weren't really going hard on the cocktails. So yeah,
At least when I was out there, just like they had some really elaborate gin tonics. It's good stuff.
yeah.
And then again, my friends were also looking at me weird because I was getting American whiskey in fucking Spain.
Right.
At least in Madrid 10 years ago, Four Roses was everywhere.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like, uno Four Roses, por favor. And they're just like, what? Like, what? It's Four Roses is the name. That's the proper name. I can't call it Quattro Roses.
Right.
And everyone's like, I can't believe you're paying like 10 euros for a fucking whiskey when there's good gin and tonics and fucking red wine for nothing.
Right. Yeah, that's the crazy thing too. You can go like we were in Paris for a bit too, and just picking up a bottle of red wine. You go down there, it's like €6 for like a bottle in the United States that would be 25, 30, and it's better quality. It's just right there. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing about Europe. Almost everything's better quality.
Yeah.
And often cheaper.
Well, those things too. I think I appreciated one thing because Vanna's brother lives over there, and he's very much into wine and things like that. And he was saying how they have a specific like agency that keeps track of when these things are like when they make a wine, like making sure that it is actually the grapes that it's supposed to be, like making sure that it is actually vinted the way it's supposed to be, so that you get an actual product that you're expecting, where like in the United States, they don't pay as much attention to that. It could be a lot of things, or it's a mix of a lot of things, where there they have much more standards for it. So I always find that the quality of those types of things over there, cheese, the wine, is on a higher level, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, and especially with alcohol, you got to remember, the alcohol is regulated by the ATF, which is part of the Treasury Department.
Right.
That's why there's no fucking ingredient labels on this shit.
Right.
It's not regulated by the FDA.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's not regulated as a food product. They're just like, you know.
Yeah, they're like, no, we want our taxes.
Yeah.
We want our fucking taxes on this.
Pay us for it.
Pay us for it. Like that's what they care about. Not what necessarily is going in. You're like, oh, you want poison? Here.
Right.
Please pay us our taxes.
Yeah.
Versus like Europe is like, no. Our food regulatory bodies actually monitor this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I found that interesting too when I was in, not to bring it up again, but Japan. When I was in Japan.
It's okay if you bring it up, it's just me.
The local whiskeys there were more expensive than the American whiskeys would be. And I was like, you have to transport that all the way over here, but they must be taxing it super hard to like make it in Japan, because otherwise I don't know how they're, you know, because if you go to like America, you find like a Jack and Coke, it's going to be the basic because it's an American whiskey. Where if you get a whiskey from, you know, Scotland or Ireland, it's going to be more expensive. A whiskey from a different Japanese whiskey would be more expensive in the United States because you have to bring it over from Japan. But
well, so I think some of that is when was this when we last there?
2018.
Okay, so pre-pandemic.
Yeah. End of 2018 or 2019, I can't remember.
Because I know with some of it, Japanese whiskeys are being harder and harder to make. I think it might be because of water supplies.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
So that's why they're going up at a premium.
Okay.
Where it's like, we can make beam all day.
Right, yeah.
And in the post-pandemic world, at least in 2022 when I was there, the Japanese government was actually subsidizing public drinking. Because so much of like Japan, especially Tokyo's economy, is based on people going out in nightlife and drinking.
Right, yeah.
They were subsidizing it. I was drinking with the exchange rate like 87-cent Jim Beam and sodas at a couple restaurants. It's like, are you kidding me right now?
Right. It should be illegal to charge that much for that drink.
That much, but yeah, but it was also like, at this price, I'll drink it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Can't beat that.
No, it's like, this is questionable, but fuck it.
What was your first drink ever? Like, what do you remember the first time you ever, like, let's say you were able to choose an alcohol and drink?
Oh, well, I mean, it wasn't much of a choice, but definitely in high school, we were getting like homeless people to buy us just cheap beer.
Yeah.
Milwaukee's Best.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in high school, like, the deal was like, you know, we'd find homeless people asking for money and be like, yo, if you go and buy us beer, you get to keep the change.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And, you know,
that's a fair assessment. Yeah.
A lot of times we'd end up giving them a beer and like be drinking in alleys with them. Shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. I didn't get stabbed or something stupid didn't happen because of that. Because it was the 90s. We were just out there, you know, internet was on dial up. Like, no.
Right. Yeah. No. When you left your house, you were just gone. Your parents didn't have a way of, you know, you'd have to find a payphone and get a hold of people.
Right.
It wasn't happening. Yeah.
And if you had a pager, it could be confiscated by the school. Like, it was against policy to have a pager because, you know, drug dealers have pagers.
Yeah. Right now. Yeah.
So, yeah, like my dad worked 2 jobs. Like, if I went home after school, he wasn't there anyway. So it's just like, yeah, I was just out in the streets until I eventually stumbled home. So a lot of random nights of just like stumbling home drunk, or I was still smoking weed regularly in those days, just stumbling home high.
Right.
Once got a homeless person to buy us a fucking keg for a fucking party. The liquor store had to know.
Whatever,
like,
man.
This homeless dude like gets a keg and then just helps us carry it to like
Right.
our obviously underage ass's car.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Like, what are those high schooler kids doing? Not nothing. I hired them to help me carry the keg.
Yeah, and drive me to where like. But it's probably some like fucking college kid who just didn't give a fuck. It was like,
Oh yeah, he's like, well, this guy has an ID, so once it leaves the store, I don't know what you do with it. Whatever.
Right, it's no longer our problem.
Right? Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
my friends and I used to like, obviously, you know, sometimes we would borrow alcohol from a store. One of our things before was we had this gas station that was down the street that was clearly like a self-owned gas station, you know, and that guy kind of was just like, whatever, bro. Like, and we would go in there, we would buy Steel Reserve.
Oh God,
Yeah,
Steel Reserve.
And we would play like beer pong with Steel Reserve. And then we would have a bottle of Southern Comfort in the freezer that we would just drink straight. I was like, man, like by the time I hit like 21, I couldn't do that stuff anymore. I was like, I'm gonna buy good quality shit. Everybody else is like just figuring out drinking, and I'm like, bro, that was like 14, 15. I was like,
Well, and that's the thing with Steel Reserve, because you're just like, oh, it's high gravity. It's really alcoholic. It is when you're fucking broke. You're like, this is, and then you're like, oh God, why?
9% alcohol you're gonna get at the store.
Right.
You grab that sixer for like $8. It's just,
Oh, we used to get 40s of it.
Get those 40s, yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's fucking horrific. Like, I haven't drank Steel Reserve in God knows how long. And like, shout out to my buddy Bumwine Bob, who hosts Bumming with Bobcat, who he is all about that Steel Reserve for local life to this day.
Oh my God.
I mean, his whole podcast is about drinking cheap fucking bum wine. So like
Boone's Farm and shit.
Yeah. Shout out to him, but it's just like no.
That's another level of drinking that.
Unless I have to. I'm not even fucking with Beam or Jack Daniels at this point.
Right. Yeah, I don't. I have a buddy of mine who he always orders a Jack and Coke, and I'm like, why? And he's like, I don't know, it's just like cheap. And I'm like, but you have the money to pay $3 more for like a better whiskey, but just wants to do that Jack. And I'm like, there's nothing on Gentleman Jack is good, but like
you don't want to mix that with Coke, though.
Right, exactly. That's the thing to me is I got over doing it with the mixers a long time ago. It's that film that the soda leaves on your teeth the next day. I was just like, my mouth just tastes horrible after doing this. I'd rather just drink it on ice.
Well, and I was a Jack and Coke guy for a good chunk of my early 30s.
Yes.
Like my late 20s, early 30s. Like just the bars in Chicago, I'd walk in and they'd be like, pour my Jack and Coke. It would just be there. I mean, I also used to say like, I just want Coke for color.
Got you.
Also, like as I got older and started getting fatter, I'm just like, I need to cut the Coke out. And then it's like, well, I just don't want to just drink straight Jack Daniels.
Right.
I'm like, oh, there are much better whiskeys for about the same price point.
I always do Jameson and Dr. Pepper.
Never done that combo.
Yeah, it's actually really fucking good. Like most of it comes from that Dr. Pepper being really good. Jameson, I still think, is one of the better, at least like basic whiskeys.
But at least in Chicago, Jameson's what you shoot. You drink other whiskeys, you shoot Jameson.
Got you. Yeah.
So and the thing about it is like this is a decent bottle, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is good.
Guess how much this was?
30, 35?
$21.
$21. Damn.
Yeah. 92 proof, small batch, $21 fucking dollars.
No, it's smooth. It goes down fine. Yeah. I'd buy that.
Yeah. I believe it's a Heaven Hill product. There are much better deals than buying Jack or Jim at this point. Like,
right.
A bottle of Beam would have been like $3 less.
Right. Well, why? Yeah.
Right.
$17.99 is compared to $19.99. Who cares?
Who gives a fuck? Like, if you're that hard up, you have bigger problems in life.
Right. Yeah. You probably shouldn't be just buying. Yeah.
Or you should be buying much cheaper liquor and getting real drunk.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. Go back to the Steel Reserve at that point. If that $2 is make a break, go back to the Steel Reserve. Get fucked up. Yeah. Try to forget about your problems.
Right.
Yeah. Like at this point, it's just like Jack and Coke, Long Island iced teas. This is all like fucking like feels like childhood, even though I was doing it in my early 30s.
What's your favorite drink? Like cocktail?
New York Sour.
New York Sour.
Yeah. You ever had one?
No.
So it's a traditional whiskey sour, preferably with the egg white, with a red wine float in it.
Interesting.
It's phenomenal.
The red wine float. Do you know what kind of red wine or doesn't?
I don't know.
Got you. Yeah.
Shout out to my guys over at Lost Property, just down the street. Like if you ever make it over there, they're over at Hollywood and Vine. They make a phenomenal one.
Really? Okay. Lost Property?
Yep.
have to try that.
Yeah, it's a good little hidden little cocktail bar.
Got you.
Phenomenal.
I love a good Manhattan.
Nice.
It's always, dry vermouth, not sweet. Dry vermouth.
Definitely.
Dry vermouth in a Manhattan. Yeah. Give me something like Bullet or Makers. Hit that with it, served up. Yeah, that's my drink every time. Yeah.
Nice. You ever hit any of the other like good cocktail spots around town?
I haven't really just with work and stuff, like drinking doesn't always, with the body and everything like that, like subside with that type of thing. So,
this is why I don't want your job. I can just be fat. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I got to get on camera. It shows when I've been drinking that beer.
I'm on camera too. Just not. I mean, I do occasionally get topless on here. We're not doing that tonight. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
We'll see where the night takes.
Yeah, exactly.
That whole other bottle.
Yeah, exactly. We've already killed bottle 1, so
yeah.
We'll see what kind of damage happens in bottle 2. But like, also, I don't give a fuck what you people think about my body. None of you are fucking me, and if you are fucking me, you're fucking me.
You already done it,
right?
So.
It's already happening.
Yeah.
I've never once in my life had someone be like, start to disrobe and be like, nah, never mind.
Right.
You ever had that happen?
No. No, if you got that far, then I think we're on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then just like, the vagina conversation earlier. Right. There's never been a time in my life where it's just like, oh, we're getting naked. Oh, never mind.
Right.
A real turnoff at the points where like I've hooked up with girls and like as we're getting naked, I had one girl be like, well, one of my tits is a little smaller than the other one. I'm like, do you think I give a fuck right now?
You still have 2, right?
Right.
Awesome.
Even if you have 1, I'd do it for the novelty.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, years ago, I was trying to bang a girl that had 1 arm just for the novelty to say I did it.
1 arm.
She was horrible.
No,
she was not a nice person.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, then.
She's pretty.
Don't do that then. But yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm not the nice person in that situation that I was just trying to bang her because she had 1 arm.
Hey, 1-arm girls need love too, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I don't get people getting self-conscious when you're that close to like it being
on. For sure. Yeah. At that point, if you've already committed that far, you're pushed in, you're all in, bro. Like just go for it.
I'm sure, this person I've done it. I'm sure you have too. It's like there's been sometimes like, oh, well, the pussy was a little smelly. I'm still here.
It happens.
It happens. Yeah. Human beings.
That's bodies, man.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I've had women be like, oh, if it's not so talk a big game about being like, oh, if it's not a certain length, I'm out. Well, I'd tell them just, take me home. I'm like, yeah, I don't think you're doing that in real life.
Right. Yeah, it's a fun thing to say on the internet. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a certain limit. Most girls, even in the industry, would be like, there's a certain limit to that type of thing, Yeah. But I mean, hey man, if you've got a small one, man, just start eating pussy well.
Right?
Eat that pussy, man. There's other ways you can please women or guys if you want to do whatever. There's other ways you can please anybody. Just, find it.
Find it. And just be confident.
Just want to be there.
Yeah,
that's all you need. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I think it would be much more of a turnoff, like, if you have a tiny fucking dick, if you're just like, as you're in the, well, just need to tell you,
right.
Like, nobody's going to be into that.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some girls talk about that where they got back to the car, like back to the house with a certain guy, and he pulls it down and it's not exactly, what you would expect or want. And they were like, there was this one time he was just really bad. And so I was like, I'll never see that guy again. But then there are other times that guy pulled out his, little dick, but she was like, he fucked me good. Like it was fine. So yeah, you can do it. You just got to fucking be confident about what you're doing and focus on what they want from it, Yeah.
Exactly. Confidence is key.
For sure.
I've definitely hooked up with people where it's just like, I've told this story on there before, but like, as we're banging, she's just like, you're thinking about those porn chicks, aren't you? And I'm just like, it was such a turn off. I'm like, I'm literally inside you right now.
Right, yeah. I'm here. I'm present.
I'm here. I'm present. I am fucking you.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this?
Right. That just comes from an insecurity. I mean, I guess I get it in some ways, but at the same time, yeah.
Sometimes it's okay to not say shit. You can just fucking keep that inside.
Yeah.
Because now
if you need something more out of that person to say what you need from them, you need more interaction. If you need something, you need them to look at you differently, then like just say it. Don't,
Yeah, don't
play out your own insecurities in that moment. Like just enjoy.
Exactly. Because at that point it's just like, well, cool. I'm not into this.
Now I am. Like, yeah.
Now I'm thinking about
before. Now I'm kind of doing that. Yeah.
Now I'm definitely thinking about somebody else. Do you have any exceptionally bad hookup stories?
Exceptionally bad. Oh, I have to, because I've been doing this for so long. I mean,
you do have sex off camera occasionally, right?
Yeah. Of course. No, I don't do anything like that. It's just work. Yeah, I mean, because it's been so long in the industry where like most of the time if I'm gonna take a girl home, we're gonna do something off camera, then it's gonna be, I already know I actually am into that person with, and obviously too, the elephant in the room's out of the way. We've already had sex with each other. So at this point we know what to expect. Let's go. Yeah, I had this one girl I used to fool around with that I used to work with.
Like a civilian job or?
Yeah, my job before porn. And she just, it was one of those things where you realize that a certain period of time you spent with someone where we were just consistently like we would go out to dive bars and just get drunk and go home and have sex with each other. And then you do it one time where you're like not getting drunk and wasted with each other. And I'm like, oh, this is not great. I was like, it was only really great before because I was significantly like drunk when we first did, and that was the funny thing about that relationship. Well, kind of like friendship, I guess. It was always the plan was just like we're going to have sex. We're just, we're gonna go out to a dive bar, relax after we worked in like the same place and stuff like that. Yeah. There was like one time where like I think we fucked for like 45 minutes and I just gave up because I wasn't gonna come. And I was just like, hey, like this is cool. Like good for you that you came, but like I'm tired now. I think I'm just gonna head out.
It's been a long day at work. I'm really sorry.
Yeah. I can't think of anything that's like exceptionally bad. I mean, there's obviously, even in the industry too, you get some of the girls who maybe, you might not have had that much experience before coming to work. And some people, it's a big step for them, I think, to be on camera. And so sometimes that can limit. You can kind of tell when you've been doing this long enough when there are certain girls who it's not the scene, it's not you. It's really just like they're too much in their own head. They can't even relax enough to enjoy what's happening. And sometimes you'll see it where when they're brand new, you'll have a scene like that with them. And I'm like, some guys will be like, they'll write them off right away. And I'm like, look, man, like she was only like 3 weeks, 3 months in the industry. She's still figuring this out. Some of those girls, had a scene with them 3-4 months down the road. And by then something's clicked and it's fire. It's good. So, everyone's different, but I don't think I've had anything that was exceptionally bad. No.
One.
I do have one.
Oh, okay.
I was like, it wasn't even that the sex was bad. It was everything. I was doing the scene, and the way the scene goes is that it's with my brother's wife. So I guess my sister-in-law at that point, right? We're supposed to be like twins, right? So we look very similar to each other. He's in the house and he's like, hey babe, like going to work, bye. And like leaves. I come in after she hears the door close, but she doesn't realize that he's already like left. So I'm like working under their sink to fix something. And she like just sees my torso down, right? Not seeing my face really or anything like that. And she starts in this thing like, hey, like last night was amazing. I loved how you fucked me. I love how you did this. And she's like, do you want to go for round 2? And before I can say anything, she just jumps down and starts sucking my dick, right? And this girl was just like, it was not good on any like the hand job was like forcible, just like almost like I'm sitting under the sink and like I can see the crew and they're trying not to laugh at how bad this is, but it even gets worse. She sits there and then at one point my brother character is supposed to come back in the house. And at that point she realizes, oh my God, like this isn't my husband. So she jumps up scared, right, for the scene, like, oh my God, what happened, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why didn't you stop me? And I was like, okay, well, this is the thing. We can either tell him or we can go in the living room and finish up and we just never have to talk about it again. And she flat out looked at me and goes, well, I guess if we called him back over and explained to him what happened, how I was confused, that like he would probably let it go and it would be fine. And I'm like,
that was her improv?
That was her improv. That was her. I'm like, you're here for porn, right? Like this, once again, like we said before, we don't have constructive solutions. The solution in porn is sex. That's how this works.
Right, there's no conflict resolution here.
Right, yeah, we're not having a therapy session in the living room trying to figure out why you fucked your brother-in-law because you were confused about who it was. Like, I'm like, dude, what? And then at the end of this scene, we're doing the sex, if you can even call it that. It's at this point of your career where when you're a newer guy, this scene is always on you. Like, you have to prove to these people that you're willing to be here, that you're good enough to do this. So like, no matter how bad she is, I'm still trying to like make a scene happen, make something look sexy, even though she's clearly not about this, doesn't understand what the fuck is going on. Like, just so at the end of the scene, he's like, hey, like, he's gonna have sex with you, and then he's gonna pull out and come on your face. So she's like in doggy on like the L of a couch, right? And he's like, so you're gonna get down on your knees, and the girl gets down on her knees and faces away from me. And he's like, no, honey, like, you need to be turned around when he does this, so he can come on your face. And this is like a new concept to her. So she finally like turns around. We're like, okay. So then we go to do the actual scene. I'm going and I'm like, I'm going to come. She gets down, and as I come towards her face to come up, she starts running back up the couch. So at this point, there's only one thing when you're a brand new guy when it comes to the pop shot. If they tell you where to put it, you get it to that place. It doesn't matter what the girl's doing. You get it where they told. So if they told me to come on her face, coming on her face. You tell me to come on her butt, we're doing that. Like, that's your fucking job to do at that point. So the end of the scene ends with her crawling back up the L of the couch and me just like chasing her into this lunge position and then coming on her. I was like, I can't with this anymore. I was like, I can't. It was a certain agency, and I just blacklisted the whole agency after that, because every single girl that they were getting was just, they clearly did not really want to do porn. There's a myriad of reasons as to why they were there. And I'm just like, man, like, I have to be the one that's penetrating someone and having sex with someone. Like, and you know, not to say the girls aren't taking and doing the same thing or having sex in that way, but I'm like, I have to be turned on enough by this to like make something real and make it look good, like on my end. And I'm like, this whole agency was just like, every girl that I've gotten from you guys, it's not a good experience for either one of us. And I'm like, I'm an empath. I feel for you. I don't want you to be here doing something you don't want to do. And I don't want to do it to you. I'm like, so I can't do it with you guys anymore. I'm like, I can't do it with these girls that just clearly like, don't want to be here, man. I'm like, I want a girl that like wants to be a slut and like on camera. And it doesn't have to be, we're not going to fall in love with each other and go home with each other. I mean, it happened once with Vanna. So, I mean, there is situations like
the audience who doesn't know.
Vanna Vanna Bardot. Yeah. This is 3-time female performer of the year currently. Yeah. Nailed the trifecta, right? Yeah. Good job, babe.
Yep.
Way to be a slut.
Yeah, you got to tell the people. They don't all automatically.
She's so talented, though, too. Even from the first scene that we had together was, it was a boy, girl with 2 other girl extras. Some stupid, like, they were supposed to be on a bachelor party, and then, like, she's the girl who's kind of leading the action, like, oh, I'll go fuck the DJ or whatever. And we had this whole scene, and then after the scene ended, everyone else was like, hey, we're gonna go outside and like smoke. And we're like, okay, cool, you guys, we'll meet you out there. And then they all went outside to smoke, and I was like, hey, come here. We pulled her in the kitchen. We just fucked then. And then ever since then, it's been like so it can, porn relationships can work. It can happen. You can meet that person that way,
As long as both people are open to it. Like, And did your no list magically expand afterwards?
If I no listed every one of them like that, then it would be, there's a very high turnover in the industry. So when you've been doing this long enough, you really see the girls, that you're like, hey, you're going to be gone in a month. Like, you're not doing this long term. Like, you don't really want to be here. You're not really wanting to do this. There are girls who are learning to do this and learning these things about themselves. Good, like, more power to you. And if you leave after a couple months, but you learn something about you, awesome. But like, there are a lot of girls who get into it, and you can clearly tell that they're not meant for this. Like, your view on how this is, or what you hold like sacred to yourself doesn't really work the same way. Like you're not, you weren't the girl, that was just being a slut in high school and wanted it, Yeah.
Well, I think part of it is also like people are unfortunately sold a bad bill of goods when they get in at times.
Right. Yeah.
Like
You get an agent that says things that are completely untrue, and you have this idea of what will happen, and it's not going to happen like that.
right. And this is why, like, I said this on a social media post like yesterday. It's like because of the negatives that come with this line of work, this industry. Whenever like civilian female friends in my life are like, I'm thinking about getting in it, I try to dissuade them. I try to give them all the fucking negatives.
Right.
And if they're still like, I'm still down, then I'll help them.
Yeah.
I think you're doing someone a disservice if you're not just like, if you're like, it's all rainbows and roses and it's amazing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that come with that too. I think there's a lot of, especially with the online hate and stuff like that. But as far as, working with certain companies and like that type of director, like power imbalance type of thing, that is significantly improved over the last couple of years.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that is huge. Like 2017 as compared to now, I'm like, it is a different world entirely. My one question to people is always, why do you want to do this? Well, and when some girls are like, oh, it's like, I need money for rent. And I'm like, probably not the best place for you.
Correct.
But if you're like, hey, I like being on camera. I like fucking. I like being a slut and the attention that it gives me. And I'm like, I would do this regular life. I'd be out at a bar every weekend, finding some guy, taking him home. He's not tested. We're trying to use a condom. Who knows that happens? Here you go. You know what I mean? I'm like, to me, that was kind of my main argument as well. When I started doing this, I was like, I would be doing this. I was doing this in Tempe, Arizona, out by ASU, just running the bars every fucking weekend, man. And I was doing crazy shit back then. So when people were like, oh, like, why'd you choose porn? I'm like, porn was a better outlet than what I was doing before this. I was like,
how many pregnancy scares?
Most safety. Oh, I don't even know before that. I mean, I had one girl that was like for a minute there, I thought maybe. And then when she had the baby was definitely half black. And I was like, whew. Like scooted that one. Yeah, for sure. I was like, but that girl was also, yeah, it was interesting. I made a lot of, what I did is a lot of times I would go and I would fucking flirt with the bottle girls or the drink girls, at the bars. That way the next weekend, if I'm fucking that girl, she's going to give me free drinks, Yeah. I'm like, hey, put it on like Jessica's tab. And they're like, okay, perfect. There was an end game to that, man. I was, I'm playing chess over here. Let me have one girl at every single bar. That way I make sure I can get those drinks.
It's a solid plan.
It worked. It worked for years. So
it's just saying, like, yeah, no, you have to have definitely have to have the right mentality of being.
Yeah, for sure. There's an attitude about it too, and it can be all business to people too, but you have to realize that there is also, as much as people discount it, the guy is still a human being as well too. So it's
no,
yeah, you got to.
You're just a prop, Codey.
Yeah, I don't want to go to set and feel like that you don't want to be there. You don't have to be in love with me or want to date me or go home with me or anything like that. But at least like in that moment, I need to feel like you actually want this. It's a very hard thing to sit there and try and have sex with a girl that you can clearly tell doesn't want to have sex with you and doesn't want to be doing this type of thing. It's very disheartening a lot of times too. So it does suck, but yeah.
Just can't look up from her phone in between takes.
Yeah. It's not even that. Sometimes it's just like, I know that you don't want this. So like those early days of my career, I would definitely still finish those scenes out. Nowadays, if I get that from a girl, I have the ability of where I'm at with my career and where I'm at with my reputation to be like, hey, like, I'm just not going to do this today, And luckily, with where I'm at, the companies that I work for as well, too, they're using girls who are established, who've been in for a while, who actually want to do this. They're not going to pair me up with someone who is clearly just in it for a week or two, or because their boyfriend told them they think it would be hot if they were a porn star and wanted some drug or rent money or something. It's just, yeah. So I'm very lucky to be at a point and a reputation where I don't have to do and deal with that, because I feel for those people and that sucks. But I'm like, I just don't want to. I don't want to feel that way about this. I want to have sex with people who want to have sex with me. And then we're just doing it on camera for people to see. And if that's performative for you, that's awesome. But when I come to it, I'm genuine every time. So, yeah.
And just to clarify for the audience, if you're confused at all, no one's on a set against their own, like actually against their own will.
Right. Honestly, if anything, it would be against my own will, because I would be the one that doesn't want them to be there doing that. There have been plenty of times where I've even told directors like, hey, I can't. This girl doesn't want to be here. She doesn't want to do it. And they'll go ask her and she'll say, she wants to do it. She's like, I want to be here. Like, no, I'm here for it. And I can just tell that she's lying. But, early on when you're trying to make a reputation for yourself, you can't be, always the person of that type of, stature to really tell someone, hey, like I'm going to ruin the director's day, the crew's day, the girl's day. No one's getting paid. Everyone's going home without money. No one's getting anything done today. That type of thing where, yeah, nowadays I can, if it really came to that, but luckily, like I said, I don't have to deal with that as much. So it's just one of those things where if, when it comes to a lot of the views from outside the industry, they think we're trying to find people and just force people into this. We want you to want to do it. That's what we want. So if you don't want to do it, that's cool, man. Don't do it. Like, no one needs to make you do anything. We have plenty of people who really want to do it. And I think with the other outlets of, personal content creation, people can really get a hold of being like, you can try it first. You can try it with your boyfriend or your partner, whoever, and try that first. And then be like, hey, I kind of want to do something larger than this and come to studios and actually go to work. But yeah. And if not, cool, man, do OnlyFans. And if not, don't do porn. That's fine. Like, no one's making you do anything. We don't want you to. So
100% we don't. Because, we develop personal relationships with people. Like,
right, yeah.
The last thing we want to do is invest in someone like as a friend, as a coworker.
Right,
and they're like, they're just gone.
You learn things about people's lives. And that's too, one of the things I've always said before is I'm like, even when they do BTS, I'm like, we're still performing in this BTS. I'm like, the real BTS is me sitting across from a girl and we're showing each other pictures of our cats. And then we're going to go have sex with each other. Like, that's really what it's like. It's not some crazy party. It's not some drug fueled thing. It's literally a bunch of people drinking some water on set, showing pictures of their cats, and then going, oh, you guys are ready for us? Let's go.
Yeah.
And that's
the crew patiently wanting to get out of there.
Right. Yeah.
Every crew wants to go home.
Yep. Girls walking butt ass naked through set and they're just locked on her eyes. Like, are you ready to do your job?
Do you need water?
Right, yeah.
Water, lube? What do you need?
Yeah, right, yeah. Do you need a towel? Do you want to take a second? Do you need a cut? Like, we're good. Yeah.
We're good? Cool. Come on, let's go. Yeah. We're all paid day rate. We all want to go home.
Right, yeah. If I'm here till 5, if I'm here till 9, I'm getting paid the same amount of money. So let's move this on.
Right. If I could be out here by 2, amazing.
Yeah, we're great. Yeah.
Some of the best sets I've ever worked on, it's like, oh, I'm taking the lunch order as we're loading out.
Right.
Like, fuck yes, that's the best. Because
send you home with some food.
No one who works on a set professionally gives a fuck about like the actual sex. They just care about it looks good on camera.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple companies that do really rely on that sex part, but at the same time, I think.
Well, I mean, like no one's aroused by it. No one who's working on it says like,
sure,
oh my God, this is like, oh yeah, I need a minute in the bathroom by myself. Like that was so hot. Like everyone's just like.
There was like this thing I was shooting for Milfy the other day, and like we had this classic car, hoods popped, the motors on there, you got big headers on there, and it's shined chrome, right? And the girl walks through like naked, walking through in like, red bottoms and stuff like that, like super fucking sexy. And like me and the director right after, like, that was so hot. And he was like, what? And I'm like, her reflection, the way it hit the header on top of the car and reflected in the chrome as you saw it walk by and the light hit it just fine. I'm like, that's what we thought was hot. Like, it's not even like, she's obviously very attractive, right. But like this idea that everyone has, like, oh, like, look at her boobs, look at her ass, like, look, whatever. I'm like, no, we're more into like the actual art of what was just portrayed in that moment, what actually just happened right there, the way it was filmed, the way it was shot, and the certain little details that hit. That's what's like, that was amazing, rather than being like, oh yeah, look at boobs.
Ooh, cool. Boobs.
Right?
Those aren't readily available on the internet.
Yeah.
Because there's very little difference between boobs on the internet and boobs in person when you're not playing with them.
That's true. It's very true. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Tits.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. When you're not touching them. Right.
Yeah, tits. Yay.
Yeah.
I appreciate those. Can we get to work, please?
Right. Yeah.
Like lube water. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Just get the fuck home. Yes, that is the biggest secret of porn. Nobody wants to be on set any longer than they have to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, there's certain things, like, especially with like feature movies, where when we're making something, I've told directors before when they're like apologizing, like, oh, I'm sorry, we're going to be here like an extra little. I'm like, look, man, like when we're making something, like I'm committed to the project. This isn't just money for me. Like I want this project to look good. So if we need to spend time here to make it look good, let's spend the time to do it. I'm committed to doing it. But when it comes to like single one-off scenes, I'm like, let's go. Yeah, let's get through it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I fully get that with
Have
features.
fun. We'll have a good day, but like, you know, at the same time, no one's under the impression that this is the best part of their day. They're like, yeah, we're gonna go to work and then we're gonna go home, and that's, you know, yeah.
Getting that check is the best
Right.
part of my day.
I have Vanna sitting at home. I want to go home. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, I want to do things that like actually stimulate my mind. Watching two of my friends have sex really is not
Right, yeah.
stimulating in any way, shape, or form. Like,
Yeah, and that's the thing I've told people before too. Is I'm like, you know, when you think about this, people are like, well, it can be all business, and I'm like, it can be all business, but you're gonna get to know that crew. You know, you're gonna get to know that director. You're gonna get to know that talent. Like when it comes to at least women working in the industry, or at least females who are having sex with men, like, you know, there's only a handful of guys that do like that shoot consistently. That's why it's the same dudes every time, because those dudes are reliable. They can keep it hard. They can keep it together. They treat the girls right. So when it comes down, like, you know, you're gonna get to know these guys. You're gonna know their personal lives. You're gonna know the crew's personal stuff. You're gonna know the director's personal stuff. So it comes down to the fact of like, how comfortable are you being in front of your friends having sex every day? You know, like they're coworkers, yeah, but they're also friends. Like we all talk to each other. We don't have much else to do when we're waiting around for lighting or for something else, or we're, you know, you're on a 12-hour day with people. You're gonna get to know people just naturally, unless you just sequester yourself in a room and don't do anything all day. Like you're gonna get to know people. So,
and that's a good way to not get yourself booked again.
right, yeah, yeah.
Like
Everybody wants to be on set with people they enjoy being around, you know? So yeah.
Because you also want to know, like, people are predictable when shit does go wrong. Because inevitably, you're going to have a day where something goes fucking wrong.
Yeah.
And no one wants to be on set with that person who's like, oh, they're a fucking nightmare if something goes wrong.
Right. Right. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. You want to have people who can handle it, people who can do it, you know, when they have the tough scene that comes down to it, you know.
Or
I was
just
listening
weird
to-
variables.
Yeah, I was listening to some of Holly Randall's stuff the other day, and she was talking with a male talent who was talking about when he was early on. You know, he was like, I always get booked last in the day. And it's like, and I noticed that too. I always get the last call time if it's a multiple call time day. And I asked one of the directors one time, he's like, the thing is like, you're reliable. So I know if the other guy fucks up a scene and it costs us an hour, if I need to make up that hour, you're going to help me make up that hour. You know, like you're going to be reliable enough to make that happen.
People want that. Like, people want reliability in this industry.
Right.
Like, because there's so little of it at times.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you need it to, you know, and it's also too because of the money aspect and things like that. You know, people don't realize that, you know, we're paying by the hour for some of these locations. We're paying for these types of things, you know, and so it, you know, you really need to be on your shit. Yeah, you don't, you know, the crew doesn't appreciate their time being wasted. The same as like you said, they, you know, kind of want to get home. So if you're over there, you know, wasting time, or you can't keep your shit together, or, you know, you can't keep your dick hard, it's, you know, it's not just a this is frustrating thing. It's also a money thing at a certain point too. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and location, or especially like, as you said, when it's a multiple, multiple scenes in one day, one location. It's just like, okay, cool. Well, she's out of hair and makeup already. She's ready to go.
Yeah.
Our other talent's ready to go.
Right.
Could you please get your dick hard, please?
Yeah.
Please, for God's sake, please.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me, like, how much people don't seem to realize, like, how much really goes into this.
Yeah. People seem to think that it's very simple and like, you know, anyone can have sex or whatever. And I'm like, you don't understand, you know, until you've been sitting in a room that's a 10 by 10 foot room with, you know, and I mean, I started back in the days when you didn't have LEDs, man. It was those fucking fluorescent bulbs and then hard ass, just like, you know, 5,000K fucking lights that just, when they turned on that room, you know, AC is off because you have to have audio and you can't have this in the background the whole time you're fucking. And then on top of that, then those lights hit on. Now it goes up another 20 fucking degrees. So now you're sitting in a room. It's like 100-degree room trying to have sex in there. And there's all these people lined up and they're all holding stuff on. You're like, all right, and go.
And their body heat's generating more heat too.
Yeah.
It's just
like, don't worry, we only need 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Like,
it's only 45 minutes. It'll be fine.
Right. Yeah. It's a lot. Yeah. It's very, it's one of those things. It's a true, I think it's a real like testament, at least to like the guys in the industry, the fact of how much gets produced, how often it gets produced, that you're just consistently doing that type of thing, you know? Yeah.
Oh, I say it all the time. Like, You guys have the roughest job in the industry.
It's a very tough and demanding job too. Yeah.
There's a reason I never wanted the job. Sorry, audience, I say this all the fucking time. I never wanted your fucking job.
Yeah.
I've been in the industry for almost 15 years, and I have never wanted your job from day one.
Yeah.
And more and more,
hard fucking job. Yeah.
And more I learned about it over the years of being in. It's just like, oh yeah, I made the right choice.
Yeah.
I made the right choice.
Yeah.
To never want that fucking job.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. It definitely takes a lot out of you, and there's nothing. One of the other things too is you're completely vulnerable, and there's no hiding. You know what I mean? Like you can't. What are you gonna do? Like you're ass naked in front of everybody else, and it's just like it either works or it doesn't. What are you gonna do about that? Yeah, you can't. It is what it is. Yeah.
In your opinion, what do you think about the directors that like will yell at male talent when they're failing?
I don't think as a director that ever makes any sense, because like as frustrated as you could be, right? If anything, you be more frustrated, I think, at yourself, because as far as I know, at least with most directors, the company is not asking you like, hey, I want this guy to be in a scene, pick a girl. It's the other way around. They're going, hey, I want this girl to be in a scene. Who do you got? And then, because like I've always kind of said this too, male talent are almost more part of the crew. Like you're kind of more part of the crew. You're like a working piece of equipment that you need to be in there. And you're all working in mid scene to pose and make the girl look good. Like your job as male talent is to make her look the best she's going to look, make her look like she's, in pleasure, whether that's genuine or not. That's partially on her as well too. But also like your job is to make her look good. She's the focus. You're just the reasoning that gets it, the ability that gets it there. So, I think it's just one of those things that, you're more part of the crew at that point. You're more part of that aspect of it. And just someone yelling at someone to, if you yell at a lighting person, be like, oh, this isn't right, they can easily just fix it. There's no chance they can't fix it. But like, if you're yelling at a guy and his dick isn't hard, there's a really small chance that you yelling is going to help it get harder.
Unless that's his kink.
Yeah. Right, yeah. And and then you found the perfect person, you just go scream at somebody and make it work, Yeah.
That guy will get all the work from now on. Every director's like, I just yell at him, he'll get hard? Cool.
That's one of the things I told girls about too, where they're like, well, I'm not going to help. And I'm like, it would behoove you to help within reason. I'm not telling you to sit there and do all of this crazy shit for some guy, but like to just turn your head and be like, well, that's his job to keep his dick hard. I'm like, your day is going to be so much longer unless you decide to just leave. If you don't, like what they need there. But also that's got to be within reason. There's no reason that you need to be sitting here fucking someone off camera or blowing someone off camera for an extended amount of time just to like make something work, I think all of the top girls in the industry, the real professionals, have a certain time. They're like, I'll do a certain amount of things. And then at a certain point, they just know, hey man, it's not going to work. But I think a lot of that, I'm sure in the past it's been the same thing where a lot of some male talent end up becoming directors. And I think that's, the next generation of people, there will be a lot of male talent moving into the director role as well. And that's going to really help along those lines of, understanding what it takes and what you need in that moment to like really be able to look at a guy and go, hey man, like, is it going to work today? And if it's not, then it's not, man. We just need to know right now so we can figure out what to do.
Right. Call an agent, get someone else here.
Yeah, you're going to look so much better if you just admit and go, hey, man, like today was just not my fucking day, man. Like there's been plenty of days. There's been girls that I've even like fucked off camera and we've been into it with each other. We're down and we have chemistry and it works. And some days he just doesn't want to do it. And that's just what it is, there are other options to getting yourself hard. But at the same time, it just depends on how much you want to do that. For me, I'm like, barely use anything at all, if ever. Most of my scenes, probably I could say about 80% of them are just natural, and that is what it is. At some days I'm like, I'm willing to accept the fact that some days maybe it just won't work, or maybe it's not going to be the strongest, but I'd rather do that than do some of the other things I've seen that, long term have worse effects. So
there are well reported stories of like people having to abuse the ED drugs and like it fucking them up for life over.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that's why I've seen some of those targeted ads on some of the things now where they're targeting like chewable Viagra to people and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, like you shouldn't be in your 20s having your dick not work. Like unless there's some medical thing, which that's a different fucking story, but the general population should experience, you know, you get that first touch or the wind blows by and it should just be like, there you go. Yeah.
Well, and also, if you're having legitimate medical problems, don't tell a doc that shit. Like if my dick was not working consistently,
Yeah.
I'm not phoning that in. I'm going to a real like fucking doctor and be like, doc, what is wrong?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Figure that out first. Yeah. Don't just go on a video conference. Don't FaceTime a doctor and be like, hey, like this isn't happening.
I want some Viagra, doc.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
It really strikes me like of when weed was like medical only. You know, when you used to walk in and be like, I have a bad back, and they're like, here's your fucking weed license.
Yeah.
That's what the ED pills look like.
Insomnia? Yeah. Like, okay, cool. Here you go.
Yeah, here you go.
Sometimes I have hard times going to sleep. Here's weed.
Right. The current ED craze online from Hims or whatever, it feels the same way. It's like, oh, my dick didn't work that one time. Well, here's your pills.
Yeah, right. Or the other thing too of some of the stuff where it's like, my girlfriend said she wants to get fucked for 30 minutes. Like I saw one of those commercials and they were advertising like, oh, it can last up to like you could be fucking her for an hour and a half. And I'm like, look, man, fucked a lot of porn girls. A lot of porn girls. Ain't nobody out there going like, let's go for an hour and a half. There might be every once in a while, there'll be that one girl who just goes completely feral and needs that shit. Cool, man, every once in a while. But it's not a continual thing. Vanna and I at home maybe hit like 20 minutes. That's all you need, man. Like just, we're not, it's not what you see on camera is we're doing that for work. That's, you don't need to be that dude. You need to make sure if you're in that heterosexual relationship as a guy, having sex with a girl, make sure she's satisfied. If she's satisfied, then you're good to go, man. There's no reason that you're not proving anything to anybody. You're not, no one needs to be sitting out there for 90 fucking minutes having sex, man. Like it's just,
no one wants to be chafed.
Right. Yeah. That's just overkill at a certain point. So, but yeah.
And I have a problem of like when I drink a little bit too much that I have problems popping. So I have I've definitely had like the 90-minute drunk sex or like, I would love to come. Good Lord, I'd love
right.
Fuck. Please, can I come now?
Yeah.
Please,
that's
body.
Out of like a fucking, and she's probably sitting there going like, are you done yet? Like, can we be done? Yeah. Do you need me to just jerk you off? Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, that has definitely happened. That has definitely been like, can we just give up? Like, we're giving up. Like,
it happens. It happens to everybody.
Right? Oh, I'm not ashamed of it. I'm talking about it on the internet.
Right, yeah. No one should be ashamed of that, you know? Yeah.
And even if you flat out fail, you shouldn't be ashamed of that either. It happens.
Right, you're a human being. You're not a robot. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Oh, Jesus. If I was a sex robot, I would get nothing done.
Right? Just all the time.
Like, I do nothing but fuck well. Yeah, I would just get nothing done.
Yeah.
Hop on command. Just, no.
But yeah, I think that's part of, I don't know. I see that. I guess I've seen that a lot more where they're just saying there's a lot of like that ED issues with younger males and stuff like that. And I think there's some of that comes from porn. Obviously, you're overindulging in that and you really shouldn't be. You don't need to be taking care of yourself so often that you can't take care of someone else if you have someone else to take care of. But
what's the balance there? Because like technically you're supposed to, as a healthy male, have at least 5 orgasms a week to help fight off prostate cancer.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, as real as whatever I find on the internet. Like,
right,
I'm not a doctor.
As real as Wikipedia says.
Right. Like, as the evidence I'm able to find on the internet says, a healthy male is supposed to have at least 5 orgasms a week to help fight prostate cancer. Yeah. This is the science in theory. Don't take my word for it, please.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the thing with that is to make sure maybe it's not a reoccurring issue with your partner, I guess, to make sure that, because at that point too, I mean, people, and rightfully so, feel like maybe the intimacy part isn't there or that, then they get kind of in their head because like, well, if he's watching all these girls do this online, what is he going to think of me, And I really feel like that just it always comes down to the same thing that I've always told people whenever they ask about relationships and stuff. And I'm like, man, it's always communication. Just telling, like your partner being like, you wake up and like, I'm fucking horny. I'm going to jerk off. And then she knows that you've already done that. And she's like, no, like wait. Or like, indicating, hey, I'm feeling a certain way. Do you want to have sex right now? But I guess if it's a consistent thing where you're taking care of yourself too often that you can't get it up to perform for your partner, then that's a different type of story right there where you need to really figure out a balance between that or something like that, because for women, I mean, I obviously don't know what that feels like or anything like that, but you could get yourself off and you'd be still willing, if you're still about that, to have more sex later. But for a guy, it seems like that's definitely detrimental to that situation.
Well, and I'm sure the research is still going on, how much of the visual stimulation actually plays into shit, like
Right.
I don't think there's any concrete evidence that porn addiction's a real thing.
I mean, I think you can be addicted to really anything. I think you could be addicted to porn, but the same as you could be addicted to alcohol, you could be addicted to going to the gym. You could be addicted to whatever. I think the real leap that shows addiction rather than just like enjoying it is when you start prioritizing things that are clearly more important. You know what I mean? Like if your partner is like, I want to have sex with you, but you're like, I would rather go online and jerk off. Then there's a kind of an issue there because like now you at least are prioritizing this like video or this idea, this process, or maybe this routine for you, more than you be processing or like respecting your partner. But like, yeah, I think what kind of like what you were going with right there, where I don't believe that just because you're visually stimulated by the women online that makes your partner any less attractive, because you're not actually having sex with those people online. Like it's a more utility type of thing, or at least that's how I've kind of viewed it.
Well, I agree.
I never sat there and like was presented with real boobs and real ass and a real woman in front of me and been like, honestly, I would rather just use the computer. You know what I mean? I never had that happen, but
not once.
Also, I hit puberty before internet was really a thing. So I was jerking off to like Maxim magazine and shit. So like it was pictures and then all the rest of it was up to my imagination. So I can't really imagine what it's like to have been born into a world where you just have at your fingertips everything, I don't know how that affects somebody, but at least from my experience, I never had a situation where the real thing was like, okay, I would rather just go look at some girl online and see that instead because maybe she's prettier in some sort of scale.
I've never made that decision because she's prettier. I've definitely made that decision because she was horrible.
Well, that I can see. Yeah.
Oh, I'm on a date. Oh, this girl sucks.
Yeah.
Going home to jerk off would probably be better.
I know. Yeah. That's the difference.
I'm just being an ass. Being an ass.
No, for sure. But yeah.
No. Like if I'm in bed with someone and they're like ready, willing, or the idea of like, I'm going to roll over and fire up my phone instead of like taking what?
Yeah.
Never.
And then also it's respect from a partner too, where if you're like, hey, I'm feeling horny, I want to have sex, or you try and put the moves on her. And and obviously, when we're talking about this, obviously I don't know. This is the world we live in now, but also too, like I'm always speaking in heteronormative terms because that's who I am as a person. So like if I'm trying to put the moves on her and she's not into it, then I might go take care of myself, right? Because I'm like, it's easier to just do that than if you're not into it in that moment. But I'm always going to give that person the attention first. Yeah.
Right.
That's what I really want. But if I can't have that, the internet, the other stuff is secondary. Yeah.
Right. And you're not going to be resentful about it.
No, not at all. No, if she's not feeling it, you're not feeling it. There are plenty of days where I think that other line is also towed too, where men are always ready for it. And I'm like, there are plenty of times when you're tired, bro. Like, I'm like, I already been working today, or like, that's even with my line of work, but even, my job before this, some of these days, I would get to work at 6 a.m. I wouldn't get done till 6 p.m. and then I go hit the gym. By 9 o'clock, I'm ready to just pass the fuck out. I'm not thinking about having sex. I'm tired, So, yeah. It is the thing where this new age, where I think really if people just communicate to each other and understood that each other is a human being, it's not always about you. Sometimes, most time when it comes to sex and someone's ability not to perform or not to be into it, it just is really their mood in that moment. It's not something about the other person, Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Especially if you're in a long-term relationship with someone. It's like, this person didn't just wake up today and be like, oh, you're undesirable. Like, no.
No. Yeah. No.
It's obvious that they have something going on with them.
Right. And if there is something about that person that's more of a talk for like therapy than it is a talk for just like that moment. Yeah.
Or get the fuck out of the relationship.
Right. Yeah. And that's
I'm
always something that people don't like to do because obviously that's, that's change and it's different. And sometimes
scary.
It's easier just to be sad and stay in it, Yeah.
I've
been there before. So, yeah.
I've stayed in some relationships longer than I have.
Yeah.
At this point in my life, I'm a giant proponent of unless you have children or property with the person, just get the fuck out if it's not working.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Children or property for sure.
Because those are the legal.
Run a business together, and that's more of that's what the everyone talks about traditional marriage. I think that was the traditional marriage. It's a business transaction more than anything.
Yeah, it's the government incorporating your love. All it is.
Yeah.
You all get a tax break because you decided to incorporate.
Right. Try to do this together. We'll just give you a group discount.
Exactly.
It's a Groupon. It's a Groupon for taxes.
The next time I propose to someone, because I will drunkenly propose to someone at some point.
Yeah.
I am going to propose with, can we have a Groupon for taxes?
Will you be my Groupon?
I'm definitely doing that. That is fucking happening. Next time I drunkenly propose to someone.
And if she says yes, she's the one because she has a good sense of humor about it.
Well, then I'm going to have to question about, it's like, oh, she's the one. Now I have to question it.
Yeah.
But you said yes.
Why did you accept that as a proposal?
Why would you want to marry me? Right. Not that I don't have my own issues.
Right.
Speaking of marriage, are you thinking about ever actually incorporating your love or?
Oh yeah, she'll be my Groupon for sure. Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's something we've talked about and things like that too. So yeah. Twitter will know first, or X, or whatever.
I was trying to get the exclusive. Damn.
No, there was one moment where we did a scene for a company, and we were in a house that they had. It had this decoration on the wall that very much said wedding gallery, right? And the funny thing is for the scene, she was dressed in a wedding dress, just cheap fucking wedding dress that they bought. Bullshit ring. It's barely on her finger. It's it's clearly super loose, right? I'm in a t-shirt. And we took a picture in front of this thing and her showing the ring. We took a picture and it does look like a wedding gallery. It kind of looked like that type of space. We posted it, and I think it was during the pandemic because we were getting a lot of work together because we were living together. So when it came to being exposure, this very limited exposure because we are living in the same place. So
if one of you is getting sick, you're both getting sick.
Yeah, we work together all the time during that period of time because it's we're not taking someone from over here and someone from over here. It's literally the same people. And we posted it, and then I remember we sat there and we smoked and we're just hanging out. And 3 hours later, we finally go back to our phone and check it, and everyone has gone insane. They were like, congratulations. And then our real friends that are in the industry, people that we really fucking know, are like, you didn't tell us you were getting married, you didn't invite us, blah blah blah. All of a sudden we're like, guys, yo, chill. Thank you for all of the support. It's very nice to see that the entire industry was so happy that we got married. But no, we didn't actually get married. It was a scene. I'm in a fucking t-shirt. What are we talking about? Yeah. So it was just kind of funny to see that many people butted, but it was very nice to see how many people were very supportive of us getting married. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So yeah.
Though, if you don't invite people, they will get shitty about it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, I was no, there were certain people where I'm no, you definitely would have known. You're going to get the invite to that type of thing. Yeah. This was just not where it was at.
Right.
Yeah.
But what is Codey's dream wedding?
Dude, I don't.
What is your dream
I'm
wedding?
a standard guy. I've never thought about what I would want. I would want a party. That's all I would want. We have thought of, doing a joint bachelorette party that is just an orgy. So filming it, right? Then we write off all of our bachelor party expenses, all fucking write off because it was all for this video. But yeah. No, I've always, I wanted to be somewhere where all of our families can be together. And just, have people who just want to reciprocate that love, essentially, and then just, have a celebration, essentially. That's all I want out of that. I don't need it to be some grand, huge experience. I want to have, good drinks, good food, good people, and have a good night of being hey, we love you guys for being our friends, and we love that you love us, and this is what we want to do. So, yeah.
Oh yeah. I think for myself, I would probably just want to like go justice of the peace of it for the actual ceremony and then throw a big fucking reception.
We thought about that before too. Yeah, we're not I was raised Mormon. I'm not anymore at all.
You still have your magic underwear?
No, I never got that far. I never
Oh,
got that far. Yeah, no, I was one of those kids where clearly it was right about the time Mormons baptize when they're 8, you get baptized. And I did not feel any of the feelings that they were all talking about. And I just thought baptism is like the last thing. If this works, maybe this is what like clicks it on. And all of a sudden I feel this way. Awesome. And I did it. And after it, I was like, yeah, this isn't going to work. Like, this just isn't, it's not going to be me. Like, yeah, my parents, I think, kind of knew too. They were very much like, they pushed super hard to keep me in the church and keep doing these things. And I could tell very quickly, I'm like, this is not going to be for me. And it's always been interesting because my first ex, one of my first like major girlfriends, her parents kind of like, her dad was never a part of her life. Her mom was into drugs and things, and so she ended up living with her grandma. So I never dealt with like a friend's parents. I dealt with her grandmother, but that was like it. And then when I dated like Allison, her parents were very Catholic. And so that was kind of a hard thing for me of adjusting to someone who was, where with my parents, I can easily just be like, hey, respect me, I'm gone. But when you're incorporating yourself into someone else's family life, I'm trying to be a little more respectful. I even went to mass one time on Christmas with her. Yeah, it didn't, I mean, at the time I'm like, I was in love with her and I was respecting that type of thing. And like that, I think showed how far I was willing to go for that, where I was like, I'll go and be a part of this, but it was just hard. So when I started dating Vanna, she was like, oh, my parents raised me atheist. I was like, yes. I was like, yes. I was like, finally, a family that is not trying to make me be a part of their religion, a family that's just fine with me being like, I don't believe in any of it. And they're like, we agree. Cheers.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm always been searching for that because like I'm raised Jewish, but like Reformed Jewish, so it's like Jewish,
right?
And it's
you're like what they would call like a Easter and Christmas and Easter Christian.
I love, I lovingly refer to myself as an entertainment Jew. Like if we're in a meeting, I'm Jewish,
right?
If this will help my career, I'm Jewish. Every other time, I'm an atheist,
right? Yeah, got you.
The amount of Christian girls I've had to date over the years, where it's just like, oh, the family dinner, and like, oh, Matt, would you like to say mass? I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck to do here.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a fucked up thing to put on people to be like, hey, do you want to say a prayer in my religion's aspect because we want you to conform to who we want you to be? What? I'm like, why can't you just respect the fact that maybe I disagree? You guys say the prayer because this is your thing. Like, I can still be respectful and not participate, That was one of the things I had to do with my family, especially. Like, every time they would pray or something, I would stand there, I'd be quiet, but I'm not folding my arms, I'm not closing my eyes. I was like, look, man, like, I'm not trying to distract from anyone else's thing. I was like, but I'm just trying to be like, I'm not going to be dishonest to myself. I'm not going to pretend to be a part of something that I don't believe in. You have the right to do that. Good for you. I was like, for me, I have the right to not do that. I don't need to be like forced into something or like made to feel guilty because I don't agree with you. We can disagree. It's fine. I don't need to keep talking about it. I don't need you to keep bringing it up. I don't need it to be a constant fighting and thing. I'm like, yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Your religion's A-okay as long as you're not trying to enforce it on other fucking people.
Exactly. I'm like, yeah, if it was really the truth and it was really the best thing ever, I'm like, cool, man. Like, that's, you have all the answers. Good for you. Why do you need to make me agree with you if you know it's true? I don't know.
Like, whatever your bullshit is, like, oh, well, I'm just trying to save you. Well, I don't want to be fucking saved. I don't think there's anything wrong with my life.
Right. Especially that's my choice. Yeah.
With Judaism, like, pork's delicious.
Yeah.
I love pork.
Yeah.
I would rather choose pork over God any day of the week.
I have a really good friend who's he's Jewish. he's practicing, so he also is like kosher and everything like that too. And I was like, I love you guys' food. He's like, why? And I'm like, because I am lactose intolerant, like a motherfucker. And I was like, and I love knowing that any meat dish you guys have has absolutely no dairy in it. I'm like, yes. I was like, if I go there to a Jewish deli and get some mayo, I was like, this does not have dairy in it. I was like, we're fucking on. Yeah. I was like, give me that aioli. Like, yeah, make it up, man. Like, I was like, I love that. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I can't eat any of it. So I'm like, cool. Like, awesome. We're on the same page. About one thing in particular, food, but everything else.
I say this all the time. It's like the major religions served their purpose back in the day. When resources were fucking tight, it gave people a reason to band together.
Right.
Well, resources aren't that tight anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I can go to the store right now and just buy a steak.
Right.
I don't have to hunt that shit. I don't have to raise that shit.
Right.
I don't.
Because isn't it that also everyone always has that version of something like Catholics? Isn't it no meat on Fridays, or is that only for a certain time of year?
No, I believe Catholics do no meat on Friday. And do you know what that is? That was due to fucking political shit, where the fishmongers just want to sell more fucking fish.
Yeah.
The reason the Catholic priests can't fucking have kids is because the royalty in Europe didn't want to have to compete with Catholic dynasties.
Right. Yeah.
Like, if this is God's will, if God is real and this is God's will, why the fuck are you listening to fucking mortal royalty?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Why are you making something up on earth that like you know is completely, according to your religion, is like false because man can't out trump God. So yeah. I don't know. There's always stuff like that too where I've seen, and it's just one of those things. I think that was part of the thing too. My mind has always been a very logical and reason-based mind, not very emotional and reactive. So when it came to religion, it was just kind of one of those things where I'm like, I like to ask questions. And then when you all ignore the questions and pretend like they don't exist, it kind of just shows me that your reasoning is kind of flawed. And so I can't abide by something that doesn't accept questioning to it, where it's just like, it's an infinite statement, you believe and you just believe, and that's the feeling. Like, yeah, I'm like, I believe that I'm hungry right now. That doesn't mean that's necessarily true. Like, come on. Like,
I believe every woman I ever meet wants me and wants no. That belief that doesn't hold up to scrutiny. Shit. What? It's also like, why haven't there been any fucking miracles in 2,000 years?
Because any sufficiently advanced technology to the layman will appear as a miracle. It appears as magic. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure there have been some miracles that involve DMT or a heavy amount of mushrooms, but no one's writing fucking, texts that people are living their life by at this point.
Right. Yeah. 100%. That's one of the things too. I'm like, it's metaphors and things like that, where I'm like, I believe that the real core of like Christian beliefs, where it's treat your fellow man as you would want to be treated. That's fine with me, but you can't force other people to do that. You have to accept that people are going to do what they're going to do. So, the best you can do is just treat someone how you would want to be treated. Treat them with understanding, with compassion, with empathy. And if they disagree with you, then just move on from that. There's no reason to keep forcing something down someone's throat. There's no reason to keep making something where it's like you're a better Christian, or like it's Mormons, like you're a better Mormon if you convert more people. It's not true. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You're focusing all these things on like mortal views of how the universe works, when you're supposedly supposed to never be understand how the universe works, because that's something only God can understand. So
no, converting more people makes a ton of sense. Yeah. Because that's more tax revenue. That is more money for the church.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
That's 100% what they want.
Yeah.
At the same time, like, just for the person that's involved in it, Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just like, converting more people means more money for the church. 100% makes sense.
Right.
That super duper makes sense.
Yeah.
But how many people have been killed in the name of religion?
Oh, more than anyone else.
Yeah.
More than any other thing else in the history of time, for sure. Yeah.
The biggest problem with Christianity, at least, is like, oh yeah, if you truly repent, God will forgive you for anything you fucking do.
Right.
So it's like, oh yeah, fuck all these whores and send them to hell and all that shit. God, I'm sorry, can I still go to heaven?
Right. But then they also say that only God can judge. So, but then you have a bunch of people on earth who are clearly judging people all the time in the name of religion. Yeah.
Well, this is the other problem is people pick and choose
Right.
from their religious texts what they want to follow.
What you want to believe in.
Like, you can't mix fabrics.
Right. You cherry pick that homosexuality is a sin, but then you don't cherry pick the part where God taught you how to buy and sell slaves. Right. So come on, like, what are we really looking at here? Like, we're looking
at rules written by people who didn't shit indoors.
Right. Yeah. Like, we gained investments in intelligence and technology since, and we understand things better now. Yeah. Yeah.
Those people shat in holes in the desert.
Right. For months on end.
Right. For fuck's sake. If the Bible is to be believed, the Old Testament is to be believed, Moses was lost for 40 years walking from Egypt to Israel. Do you know it's like a 4-day walk?
Right, yeah.
It's a 4-day walk. How the fuck did you want to follow rules by someone who got that fucking lost?
Yeah.
With God on their side.
Right.
God's feeding them manna from the sky.
Right. I always thought the most interesting thing with that, like, I love watching Ancient Aliens. It's one of those shows where like 99% of the time it's just garbage, and every 1% of that time you're like, well, you kind of have a point there. Like, they had this this idea that the Ark was actually like a nuclear like power source. And what it would do is it would create like they've even seen it for like space shuttles, where they would create a certain type of algae that could be turned into like yeast, right? And so they were saying that like it is plausible, right? And it's just crazy. It's just funny because I'm like, I don't actually believe this, but it is just funny to think about, just to think about it in contextuality. Like what actually happens, like that it was able to, the one that they had put into progress with like the space station and things like that, it's able to create this food for a couple of days, and then it needs a day to be cleaned to reset before it could go there. Like, and then when they're talking about walking through the desert, they're talking about getting manna from it for 6 days. And on the 7th day, it needed to rest, and they would receive no manna before on the next day, then they would get it again. And it's like, and then it's also one thing where anyone who touched it and came into contact with it would die, right? Well, you can't come into contact with radiation or else you would die. So it is kind of funny to like think about the ways that you can like justify what they were trying to describe with something that could actually be in physical practice. It's just kind of funny. Like, to see like how many flaws you could point on things where it's like, we just accepted all as truth. And I'm like, yeah, or there's a couple of other ways this could have worked.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of there's a lot of plot holes.
Yeah. A little bit. Yeah.
Just a couple.
Not as good as Swiss cheese. Yeah.
And once again, I understand society needed that. Like, the basic tenets of these religions make sense from back in the day. Like, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Yeah, because you'll be murdering each other.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Probably don't go fuck someone else's wife.
Right. Yeah. Thou shalt not murder unless they're of a different religion.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was unless God says it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like, up to a man on earth to determine what God says is okay.
Right. How can religion be true if statistically you're going to belong of the major religion of where you were born?
Mm-hmm. Right. It's geographical at that point. Yeah.
It's completely geographical. It's like, oh, where I got shot into the world is probably going to determine what kind of,
Or it's like that, even throughout all of like Europe and everything, everyone was Catholic until the King of England wanted a divorce. Yep. And then when he disagreed with the church, he just created Christianity. So there you go. Like, what are we even talking about here? Like, you guys are just literally worshiping religions that are created by man anyway. So it's.
Yeah, it's all created by man.
Funny. It's just funny. It's, believe what you want to believe, I guess, at this point. Just stop letting it affect other people's choices. Stop letting it affect how other people want to live their lives. If you want to live your life differently, that's your fucking choice. But yeah.
I mean, we are.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Same with the industry. You want to blame everything on this? Cool, man. That's your prerogative. But like, it shouldn't be accepted as fact or law or anything like that. It's not. That's not true. It's just not. So,
I mean, my overall ethos in life is like, live your life to the best of your ability, and like, don't negatively affect others. Like, that's
don't be a dick, bro. Like, just don't. Be
sometimes
a
be a dick. Sometimes
what people deserve being. Yeah, but
that's arbitrary too.
But that's up to you to determine that. Yeah, so that's all based off your own life experiences or anything like that. So yeah.
But don't try to actively like maliciously negatively affect others. Like,
right.
It's really that simple. It's like, hey, you want to go do heroin? Go do heroin. As long as you're not negatively affecting other people. Like if Vanna was like financially dependent on you, or you had children or something, and your heroin addiction was going to get in the way of that, like y'all were going to get evicted because you're heroin addicted.
Right.
Well, that's a problem. But if you just want to go be a junkie, go be a junkie.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck? It's your body.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's your fucking body.
Yeah. Just realize what that does to you. You know. Yeah.
Give it some thought before you do. I'm not being a proponent of being a junkie.
Yeah.
Like you probably don't want to
do heroin, but also like you have that choice. That's
like
part of your reality. Yeah.
You can choose to do heroin. I may not want to be around you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I had plenty of those friends back in the day, so I've seen what it does to people, and I've seen what it does. It's not a fun road,
No. Yeah. Well, as I've gotten older, I've realized I enjoy being around people that have a good time, that party. I don't have a good time around addicts.
Right. Yeah. Well, because once again, like that addiction to whatever it is, drugs, alcohol, porn, whatever, gambling, any of that, that addiction takes precedence over being a good person. So you'll choose to do the wrong thing or choose to do something that's rude or unacceptable to most people or just negative in general because you're putting that substance or that idea or that effect above that type of person, So it leads you to not have a productive life or not have a productive anything else because you're only focused on that one thing. So
yeah, it's just manage your fucking high.
The levels of us getting so deep about stuff where it's like learn how to live your life and then also just joking about shit.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast.
Right, yeah.
Wait to tell me you've never listened to a full episode.
Right.
I only watch the clips.
I see things on. I don't have time.
It's okay. Yeah. You and 90% of the industry.
Right.
The amount of people who come on here and they're like, oh, yeah, no, I've seen the clips. I'm like, yeah, you may want to experience a full episode before you're like, what you get into. This isn't exactly Holly Randall, and this isn't exactly some of the other shows. It goes where it goes.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, people are like, oh, yeah, I listened to that whole. I'm like, oh, shit, you did listen. Fuck. I'm not just babbling into the fucking void here. Shit.
Right. There are people listening.
And my shit takes are listened at the 2-hour mark.
Right. Nice.
It is what it is, but overall the goal of this is to have the audience get a feel of who you are as a real person versus
for sure,
where they masturbate to you.
Yeah. That's one of the things I appreciate about that. Just going anywhere with it too is because there is that presence that you put out online, where I'm like, I don't say all the things I want to say and stuff like that, but also too, it's a different person that you're getting. It's a different thing that you're getting out there, and there's no reason also too. I don't like funneling contradictory ideas into people's things unless they really ask for them, because it's like, why? Like, you're just living your life, man. Have fun. Yeah.
As long as you're not negatively affecting other people, have fun.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That is the big asterisk.
If you're in my industry and you negatively affect other people, I'm going to call you on it. Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
You absolutely should. Yeah. The industry is very us versus them. There's so many exterior forces that are trying to negatively affect us. Yeah. Why the fuck are we going to infight?
Right. That's one of the things I hate about this industry the most is I'm like, man, I understand that, that your I guess idea of yourself or maybe your self-esteem can be affected by things that you perceive as being negative towards you, especially during award season and things like that, where certain people win awards and you're finding every excuse as to why you didn't get it and why they did and all that stuff like that. And I'm like, look, man, the thing is, I'm like, we should all really just support the idea that, hey, if you're on that list, if you have been nominated, if you're seeing that stuff go up there and you're seeing yourself, you're doing the right thing, man. Like, this is how this is working. So it's like, just be supportive of each other. Like, love the idea that, I think, I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but Vanna, I think it said when she went backstage last year, she won female performer, and Isaiah was back there after he won male performer of the year. And he was like, man, he's like, I really appreciate Codey cheering me on when it happened. I'm like, yeah, because I'm like, look, man, I appreciate anyone winning in any sort of category. If I'm up against you or whatever, that's not anything where I'm like, I want to win for me. But when you win, awesome, man. You deserve that shit. You really deserve that, So I'm like, I just want everyone to feel like, hey, we're all on this team together. I love and support each one of you. I want you all to succeed at what you're doing. And when I see you succeed at it, I'm going to fucking cheer you on just like anyone else would. I'm not going to be sour about it. I'm not going to be hurt about it. It might suck for a minute because, you know, I really wanted that type of thing to happen for me. But at the same time, like, I'm happy that it happened for you because that's a great thing for anyone to have happen to them. So awesome, you know?
And there's always next year.
Yeah. Yeah. Just go get it, man. Like, it's cool. Like, you know, yeah.
Well, and
You did the work, you deserve it, you know? So if I see someone who wins something that I don't think deserves it, maybe I won't be like so, you know, exuberant about it. But at the same time, you know, when I see someone who really feel like I don't have that ability to like only look at it through my lens, I'm like looking at it overall and I'm like, you know, like these people, like these are the group of people that really deserve this type of thing. So when you win some of that, like good for you, man. Like that's awesome. Yeah.
that's how I look at it too. And it's also one of those things where like, if someone is more successful than me, instead of being jealous about it, it's like, okay, look at what they're doing. What are they doing better than me? How can I emulate that?
Right.
Like, how can I improve my product? How can I improve what I'm doing to step up to their level?
Yeah, and I think sometimes too, it's the right time, right place for certain things. You know, it's certain things where like maybe a movie that I did this year, you know, maybe you just did more, or maybe I was sick or out of town for certain things, and I just didn't do that movie. Then you did, and there you go. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where it's not necessarily always about that that person overall. It's really in that moment, you know, in that year, in that time, in that last little bit of time right before award season, the things they were paying attention to, who really hit the most right there. And then there you go.
Well, unfortunately, it's also a collaborative process in which you're involved with. So it's like, okay, if you're winning best male talent for whatever reason, not for whatever reason, but you're winning best male talent, and they're judging it off of like the last piece of work you did. Well, who was the director? Who was your co-star?
Exactly. Yeah.
Who was the writer? Like there's so many other people that are, you know, collaborating in this process that directly affect your win or your loss.
Right.
And some of it's out of your hand. Like you have no control over how the person shot that.
Right.
You only have control over your performance.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I've said that before too. Like, I've told you before, because like the last 2 years at XBiz, I took home best boy girl sex scene for a featurette. And I was just like, the thing with this is it comes down to, especially for male talent, it comes down to who your female talent is. Because you want a girl who's on the rise or at the top, right? You want that person who's going to garner that attention. You want it to be for a director who's on the rise or at the top, and you want it to be a company that's going to get noticed. And if you can get all those things together, there could be an equally better sex scene, you know what I mean, with someone else. But maybe the girl was kind of a newcomer. No one knew who she was, right? Or maybe the director was someone who wasn't really on the best terms with much people, or the company was really new to the game and didn't understand what they were doing yet, right? Like those types of things can really affect where those award nominations come from, because you got to think they're going to sit there and they're going to say that out of all the sex scenes that were produced over a year, this one was the best one. And I'm like, there's not so much. There's definitely a difference between mid-grade scenes and the high-end professional stuff. But at a certain point, how can you really determine which one's better than the other one? And I'm like, I think a lot of that just comes into play of like, you know, the partner that you're paired with, the company, the director, those things affect it as well. So you have to really put yourself in place to get those opportunities. And when you see that coming up, you have to make every second available of that too. Because yeah, I don't know how the editor's going to edit it. I don't know how the cameraman's going to shoot it. I don't know if that girl that day normally would have been awesome and on, but maybe that day she's not feeling good, or maybe she's on her period, just isn't feeling right. You know what I mean? Like these things will always affect somebody, but when you really hit that and nail all of those together, that's when you really put that together to win something. So,
well, and you also don't know how the company's going to market it. Like, so my old roommate,
yeah, that's true,
used to vote on the AVNs.
Yeah.
And so we get all the screeners every year.
Mm-hmm.
And the fucking packages from like fucking Vixen, like their award packages, they had put together like a whole package that they send out to the people that are voting.
Mm-hmm.
A smaller company just can't compete like that.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like, it was a really well-to-do package. I don't know if it's still sitting around. Oh, maybe that was, but it was just like, oh, this really pretty package. And like, here's a free login for 3 months of, you know, fucking Vixen.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, hey, I'm Joe Schmo porn company that doesn't have that fucking budget. You may have made a scene that is absolutely going to kill a Vixen scene.
Right.
But the people that are voting were like, wow, look at this fucking.
Yeah. when people take it like, oh, you saw a Codey Steele scene, you know what? I don't like Codey Steele as a person, so I'm not going to vote for him. And I'm like, I don't take it that seriously, man. I was like, you guys looked at the all-around products as compared to other stuff like that and the other back-end stuff that I didn't see, that didn't happen. And that's just how it worked out, Like, it is what it is. So, but I really think that, yeah, this idea of letting those things aside and not letting the idea of awards divide us. Like, it really should be something that we all come together on and are like really supportive of each other during that time, rather than trying to bring each other down or find a way to make up an excuse as to why someone did something that you didn't get the opportunity to do. Like, it's just, I hate when I see that too, because I feel for the people who need it that bad, who need that like validation that bad. Because at the same time, I'm like, I get it, man. Like, it's hard to sit there and put in a whole ass year of work and to really like throw yourself at it all the time, and then to have that season hit and come home with nothing, Like, but then trust me, winning the awards, you get them home, and then good. Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe you can ask for a little bit more money, but like really it's about that. I don't know. It's about, I think, who you are and how you bring yourself to set. I don't know any amount of awards that's going to change the fact that every single day I'm going to come to set and be genuine and be ready to work and be willing to do what we need to do to make the project happen. So, yeah.
Well, and I was just about to ask about that. Like, because back in the day, winning an AVN, winning an XBIS went on your box covers and helped.
You won money.
Right.
There were money awards behind those things too back in the day. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
These days, like you just said, like you might be able to ask for a little bit more for your rate, but it's not like make or break fucking money like it was back in the day.
You're not going to be like, well, he didn't win male performer of the year, so we're not going to shoot him anymore. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, every dude on that list is going to keep working the same amount of work they've been doing, unless you choose not to. So, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I made it on that list after year 5, which was my goal. Was like, I want to be 5 years in this and make it on the list. I was like, the award, winning it, I hope each year that I win something. I really wanted to win it last year because I knew Vanna was I was like, not new for sure, but I mean, looking at what she did last year, I was like, she's probably going to take home female performer of the year. And I really wanted to be, because it does suck when you see your partner up there, like standing there with another guy, like being like, this is the male and female performer of the year. It's like prom king and queen, and you're like not a part of that group. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it is, it is what it is. And hopefully that'll come when it comes. But, each year it is one of those things where I'm like, I want that to happen, but I'm not like, it's not going to ruin my year if it happens or it doesn't happen, Yeah.
Right. There's no resentment on your end because of it.
Yeah, no, I'm like, I really, there's certain things where I'm like, if I see a male talent win it who I don't believe deserved it, then I'm kind of a little more sour about it, where I'm like,
what constitutes not deserving it?
I don't know. I just feel like there's a certain thing where, especially with male talent, where like, got you. Is it reverse? There we go. Cool. Yeah. I was like, before it was loose and I just was flying around.
It's all good.
Right. No, I feel like with male talent specifically, it needs to be, you need to be really versatile, man. You got to be able to do the acting. You got to be able to do scenes with other guys, right? You got to be able to do gonzo. You got to be able to do romantic. You can't just, there's this old guard of being like, the only way to do scenes, even if it was introduced in a romantic way, even if it was introduced in a light way, was just to fuck the hell out of some girl. Just pound her into the earth, destroy her, and like that was what you did, And there's no shit on those guys who are doing that, because that's what you did at the time, right? You just fucking took it to the fucking limit every single time. But to me, at least to me personally, I feel like when you're talking about someone who is a performer, it's the same case as someone who is like winning awards for acting. And we've all noticed that over the last couple of years, the acting has become more prevalent and more hints on like, this is important towards it. So when it comes to a scene, if it's romantic, the whole dialogue and everything else, and then you get to it and now you're slapping the girl around, you're tossing around, you're making her call you daddy, you're doing all this stuff like that. And I'm like, the sex takes you out of the performance that you just did.
Hey, and it's not romantic to slap her around?
Right. I mean, it can be. It can be if that's what the person wants. But at the same time, like, I feel like during those scenes, yeah. So to me, I'm like someone who really shows the versatility in all of those categories, the ability to transition to be on a BDSM set one day, on like a Balesa set the next day and have genuine sex, and the next day be performative for like Brazzers, really shows the difference in like how you really perform and the versatility that you perform. And like I think one person like, you know, like especially like Isaiah, like who won it last year, like that's one of the reasons he did that, because you could put Isaiah on a Brazzers set. He's going to do the Brazzers face and do the whole reactionary thing and stuff like that. But then you take him the next day and give him a girl that he has really connection with and says, hey, make love to this person. You've got it. You know what I mean? So seeing those types of things, I'm like, it's that versatility to really be a performer. If you need me to perform in a romantic way, I'm going to perform in a romantic way. If you want me to be rough with a girl, I'll perform rough with a girl. If you want me to be, you know, a certain, like, well, I will be your mold to what you need me to be. Just tell me how you want me to perform. And that really shows, you know, how your performance goes. For girls, I think it's kind of what you did that year, you know, what you garnered that year. This last year, Vanna did her influence for Vixen. And that was like a series that went through all of Vixen's different brands for different reasons, hit all those different marks. She did her first anal, did her first DP. Like she really hit all those things home. And when you look at that track record to be like, this was the first, this was the first, this was the first. And then you also look at who do you want to be like the lead as far as like a female example for other performers, like that kind of makes sense for that track record. Like there was another female performer who'd been around for a while that we were like, you know, she's really going to give you a run for your money this year. Like she's doing some big stuff and she's a great performer. But I was just like, it's going to be, you know, who do you want this next year to be? Like, who do you want to be like at right now? This is what that pinnacle is going to be. And that's why like she was kind of like, I don't know, I'm not really sure. And I'm like, no, like they would be stupid not to. Yeah. There was a whole thing with that where like Gary hit me up and he was like, hey, you want to present at AVN? And I'm like, I just did present at AVN. And he was like, yeah, but that was the studio one during COVID. You've never been on stage. And I was like, yeah, of course I want to do it. So I get there on Friday and they're like sitting there and they're going through the thing. And it's funny because like one of my best friends writes the AVN show and works like Showtime to do it. And so he's sitting there and he kind of has like a little smile on his face and he hands me my script for the night to tell me what words I'm pronouncing. And I'm announcing best boy girl scene and female performer of the year. And I was literally like sitting there and I almost started crying because I knew at that point, I was like, Gary, I'm like, if you make me get up on stage and give another girl that award, like, to me personally, that's a problem. Like
that's a dick move.
Yeah, that's the thing to me. I'm like, you could have picked anybody else to do it. It didn't need to be me to give it away. So yeah. So, but that was kind of awesome to be up on stage and really like give her that female performer of the year award, because yeah, that was something that she truly like earned and she really like did that work to get it. So yeah.
Hell yeah. And that's awesome because like you two have that moment immortalized together.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, plenty of videos of me crying the whole time, like seriously sitting there. No, I mean, because I was so, like, same thing as it was, you know, this person obviously means more to me, but I was very happy for her in that moment because all that, you know, that last year of putting herself through all the work she did, the working out, the dieting, the you know, making herself. She was like, I want to be the best version of me for this entire movie. And so she did all the work that came into it, did all the stuff that went with it. Vixen brand has been very great about holding all, you know, marketing in the way it deserved to be marketing. The package that they obviously sent out to people, they were like on it with that too. So yeah. Yeah, it was just a really great moment to see her get up there and really take that home, because where we were a couple like years ago, right before COVID hit, she was with an agent and she was telling me at the end of 2019, she's like, I'm only working like 2-3 days, like a month, you know, maybe even 4. And like, that was it. And I was like, hey, like I got this other agent with ATMLA with Mark Schechter. And I was like, hey, like this guy is someone else that is out there. Like I was with OC before that. And I love Sandra and all them and stuff like that too. But I was like, I think you would really fit in with ATMLA. And she went over and talked to them. And then everything started lining up. She's like, I'm working for Vixen, I'm working for Brad's, I'm working on those companies. And then COVID hit and shut everything down. And it just kind of sliced that, you know what I mean? Just kind of killed it. And it was kind of this moment where I was like, fuck, like, is this really going to like, come back? And then as soon as, 2021, 22, 22, it was really this leading up process to her development, her career and working for those companies and getting her name out there that all of a sudden just culminated in 2023 doing that showcase and doing all stuff like that to just really hit it home and just nail it all the rest of those years. So yeah.
Fuck yeah. That's fucking awesome.
It was a great experience to be a part of that and to see, because when you're really, when you live with that person, you see the hard work that goes into that every day. We see the, the time we spent going over the lines and reading sides with each other and doing the stuff like that to really just like bring it all home. Yeah.
Yeah. Because unfortunately for the people at home, they just see the end product and it just looks easy.
Yeah. It looks simple.
If it's done well, of course it looks easy.
Right. It was like she went, you don't see all the times that she read over these long scripts with Vixen and went back and had edits for herself and was like, hey, I kind of want this to be this way. Or I have my ideas for this. You don't see how much of her own influence was put, like, I didn't even know it was, literally her influence that was put into Influence, the movie. Like, I mean, she really nailed all of that. So it was really kind of a great experience to see her being vindicated, I guess, or justified in a certain way to be like, hey, like, you earned this, Yeah.
Yeah. The industry is recognizing the work that you put in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Huh.
It's fucking awesome. Codey, I hate to do it.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for over 2 hours.
Damn. Is it really? Yeah.
So we're going to call last call on this motherfucker.
We are, yeah.
I love ending it on like that note of like, I can see it in your face, like how emotional you're getting about this.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. It always gets to me. Like that's, like I said, I'm a huge empath in that way too, where I feel that for people and I feel that for stuff. So like, and knowing, being the person that I love the most, seeing her succeed like that is amazing to me. So yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
We'll have to do this.
Way to end it.
Yeah. It is. It is.
Yeah.
I hate to call it though. So before we get you out of here though, where can they find you?
You can find me on IG, Codey Steele, Twitter. I make stupid things up all the fucking time, and it's only funny to myself, and I don't care if anyone else thinks it's funny. It's Codey XXX Steele because triple X is my middle name. Right. It's dumb as fuck. I know, but that's what. So if you go on X and you look me up, it's Codey XXX Steele. And and then if you go on OnlyFans, it's Codey XXX Steele as well. So yeah,
consistency of branding.
Right? Yeah. I couldn't put the X's on there because IG will fucking find you. So right. Yeah,
slit your fucking throat.
We're already doing it anyway. So yeah,
for sure.
But yeah,
it's been a pleasure.
It is. Thank you very much.
We'll have to do it again.
Yeah, for sure.
Until next week, drink up, motherfuckers.
Cheers.